We're live, coming to you from the MGM Grand Garden Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. Tonight, Floyd Mayweather makes his long-awaited return to the ring, his latest long-awaited return, coming back from a 16-month layoff to face Victor Ortiz, who won a welterweight title belt from Andre Berto in April. But before our main event, there's a three-fight undercard with some big names. First, undefeated 140-pound prospect Jessie Vargas takes on Josesito Lopez. Then, Hall of Famer and fan favorite Erik continues his comeback of sorts, if ever he was really away, against unbeaten Pablo Cesar Cano. And finally, Canelo Alvarez, coming to you in a special attraction live from Staples Center in Los Angeles, faces veteran contender Alfonso Gomez. Mayweather versus Ortiz is being brought to you by MGM Grand, the city of entertainment in Las Vegas. Cerveza Tecate con Carácter. DeWalt, new 20-volt max lithium-ion system. AT&T, get it faster with 4G. Rethink possible. Fly Southwest Airlines, it's the right call. Cancun, discover paradise. And by HBO Pay-Per-View, the best in pay-per-view entertainment, brought to you by HBO. A live look at the Las Vegas Strip. 95 degrees, relatively cool outside today in Las Vegas as the crowd here and the town gets ready for the big pay-per-view fight tonight between Floyd Mayweather and Victor Ortiz. Hello again, I'm Jim Lampley. It's been 10 years and 17 pounds ago since Floyd Mayweather, back in 2001 at 130 pounds against Diego Corrales, last faced an opponent with the kind of physical strength, youth, and vibrancy that Victor Ortiz will bring into the ring tonight. Add punching power, the X factor in the fight for people all around the country who are hoping for an upset for young Ortiz. On the other hand, if you have enjoyed every minute of watching Floyd Mayweather winning 5 of his last 6 fights by unanimous decision, or in the case of Oscar De La Hoya, disputed split decision, and you've enjoyed the mastery of boxing craft and artistry that Floyd has demonstrated in all those fights, then the odds say you're in for another night of enjoyment tonight, as Mayweather is an overwhelming favorite to defeat the vastly less experienced Ortiz. Meanwhile, we've got an outstanding undercard, which will begin in just a few moments with young Jessie Vargas, a 140-pound prospect of some note, facing Josesito Lopez. Then, immediately after that in the ring here in Las Vegas, 35-year-old Erik trying to continue the late career magic that he flashed in his tremendous performance in a loss against Marcos Maidana earlier this year. He was scheduled to face Lucas Matisse of Argentina. Matisse got sick within the past 2 weeks, and the new opponent is 21-year-old Pablo Cano of Mexico, relatively obscure for this fight against Morales. Then we're going to take you to Staples Center in Los Angeles for something unusual, as the semi-main, the next to last bout of the evening, features Canelo Alvarez against Alfonso Gomez in Los Angeles, where Alvarez is a huge draw. The Mexican kid has already had huge audiences in Mexico, both on television and for the live gate. Tonight, he'll have another live show at Staples Center in Los Angeles, and our man standing there to report on what's going on in Staples is Mario Solis. Mario, what's up in LA tonight?
All right, Jim, thank you. Saul Alvarez has proven to be such an exciting fighter that many fans actually prefer to be here in Los Angeles for this dual city affair. Now, for weeks, LA has been buzzing with anticipation, and now Canelo Mania is in full swing. Over 10,000 fans expected tonight to cheer on the Mexican superstar. His opponent tonight, Alfonso Gomez, has graciously accepted his underdog role, writing and performing a rap song mocking Canelo's fair skin and red hair, but also describing Canelo as boxing's own Justin Bieber. Now, that's popular. All right, let's go back to Las Vegas. Jim, take it away.
All right, thank you very much. I wonder if Bieber would be jealous of the fiery red trademark Canelo brings into the ring. We'll be in touch with Mario throughout the evening and take you back to LA as we prepare for following that fight from here. Meanwhile, here's the tail of the tape now. Jessie Vargas, promoted by Mayweather Promotions and talked up big by Floyd Mayweather in the past couple of weeks, gets ready to take on Josesito Lopez. They're both relatively tall for the 140-pound weight class. Think Amir Khan size. Arm length measured from the armpit to the end of the fist, only a half-inch difference in favor of Lopez. They weighed in just above the 140-pound limit. Vargas at 142, Lopez at 140 and a half. Vargas must have been in terrific shape because he's only gone up 5 pounds to 147 overnight. Josesito Lopez rehydrating up to 151. Let's go to Michael Buffer in the ring for the official introductions.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to an evening of world-class professional boxing brought to you by Mayweather Promotions and Golden Boy Promotions. All bouts sponsored by Tecate, Cerveza con Carácter, DeWalt Power Tools, new 20-volt max lithium ion system, AT&T. Get it faster with AT&T Rethink Possible. Southwest Airlines, fly Southwest, it's the right call. And Cancun Tourism, discover paradise. Sanctioned by the Nevada State Athletic Commission Chairman Bill Brady, Executive Director Keith Kaiser. Commissioners Francisco Aguilar, Skip Avancino, TJ Day, and Pat Lundvall. Physicians in attendance at ringside are doctors James Game, Al Capana, Vicky Mazzarana, and Anthony Ruggiero. Timekeepers at the bell and counting for the knockdown, seconds Steve Esposito and Ernie Howdegui. The 3 judges at ringside for this next bout, scoring on a 10-point system, will be Dwayne Ford, Dick Houck, and Patricia Morris-Jarman. And inside the ring, in charge of the action at the bell, referee Tony Weeks. And now, 10 rounds of boxing. This is in the welterweight division. Fighting out of the blue corner, wearing white with red letters, official weight, 140.5 pounds. His professional record, outstanding. 29 victories, including 17 knockouts, only 3 defeats. From Riverside, California, Josesito Lopez. And fighting out of the red corner, wearing gold, his official weight, 142 pounds. A perfect professional record consisting of 16 fights, 16 victories, including 9 by knockout. From Las Vegas, Nevada, USA, the undefeated Jessie, the new generation Vargas.
Here we go. Okay, gentlemen, you both received your instructions in your dressing room. Okay, right here is good, anything below is low. Right here is good, anything below is low. I want a good, clean fight. Obey my commands at all times. Above all, protect yourselves at all times. Let's go.
Vargas, as mentioned by Jim Lampley, is a protege of Floyd Mayweather Jr., who someday might be a promoter. Promised that he would fight Amir Khan if he agreed to fight Vargas, which is never going to happen, but it's good promotion talk.
Yeah, it sounded to everybody like quite an upgrade for Vargas, as Mayweather was saying, come on, you know, young Khan ought to have to beat Vargas to get a chance against me. But interestingly, Ortiz and Vargas have a common opponent. In September of 2010, Ortiz knocked out the faded former 140-pound titleist Vivian Harris in 3 rounds in Staples Center. 5 months later, Vargas got him in 1 round. So already Vargas can say, I did better against Vivian Harris than Victor did.
You know, if these guys didn't have different colored trunks, it would be very difficult to determine who is who. They fight very similar. Both of them are extremely tall at 5'10", 440 pounders. And right at this point in time, they're doing the same thing, but both guys are known to be sluggers. And right now, they're just aggressive boxers. But I'm expecting some left hooks to start exploding somewhere pretty soon from both guys.
Indeed. Both expressed basically the same fight plan. I'm going to walk him down, and I'm going to knock him out. There's the left hook from Vargas, glancing off the front of Josesito Lopez's face. Riverside against L.A. Lopez is from Riverside, and Vargas is a Los Angeles product.
As a substitute for Matisse, on short notice, Lopez actually fought just 3 weeks ago which is virtually unheard of in the modern era.
Well, a lot of these guys, when they get those big contracts, you know, they got to have a minimum of 25 or 50,000, which means you fight maybe 3 or 4 times a year. And that's not the case with him. He's fighting very regular for whatever the purse is.
Stop, stop, stop.
Final minute of round 1. Emanuel Stewart did a good job of establishing how similar the two fighters have been in their approach here in the first round.
Stop, stop.
Vargas is, of course, the favorite in the bout, partially because of all the good things Mayweather has said about him. Do you see any difference between them so far, Emanuel?
Not that much. Maybe Vargas may have landed a few cleaner punches this round. But I think that's going to change pretty soon, and it's going to end up being a slugfest as the fight goes on.
Come on, hands free, hands free. Watch the back of the head. Stop, 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 stop. Watch the back of the head.
Listen, you got to use the jab to close the distance. You can't walk in, all right? I want you using double, triple jab to close that gap. You're giving him too much space, right? The other thing is, you're following him around the ring. I need you cutting the ring off, okay? Deep breath. You got to close that gap. Once you get inside, you really got to work. You got to put 3 and 4 shots together, okay? Deep breath. How you feeling? Bien? Okay, look.
Tres golpes, lo está haciendo bien. Siga trabajando.
You're doing well, but
Manténgalo afuera.
keep him out at a distance. Keep him at a distance. Keep him busy and at a distance. Your distance. Just step in with it. Keep your foot in. Jab, 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 and after that, whatever you want. Okay?
Manos arriba.
And keep your hands up at distance.
Okay?
All right?
Jesse, usted primero. Nomás ocúpelo
You be
y
first.
pasitos
Keep him
laterales.
busy and then
Ocúpelo,
laterals.
pasitos
Keep him busy
laterales.
and then laterals.
Okay?
All right?
This is
Come on, hands free. Stop, 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 stop.
I was so
Watch the
busy
back
with
of the head.
housekeeping in the first round that I was unable to see the functional difference between the two fighters, but CompuBox saw it. CompuBox numbers in round 1, Vargas 22 out of 67, Lopez 7 out of 39. So at least by CompuBox count, Emanuel Stewart, Vargas got considerably the better of Lopez in the first round.
That's what I felt, but it's still very competitive. And look at that. The fight is going to be very tough as it goes down the stretch, but I'm still looking at Lopez is very aggressive still and seems to be the more aggressive of the two, but Vargas is more accurate with his punches.
And now Vargas starts working behind a good stiff jab, and that jab for the moment is stopping Lopez in his tracks.
I'd like to mention in Vargas' corner you have the trainer Roberto Alcazar, who was the trainer with Oscar De La Hoya through most all of his amateur career and a great part of his professional career. But he's only been training Vargas for his last two fights. Up until that time, he was trained by Roger Mayweather.
Does that mean that the trainer and the fighter are still getting to know each other, or given that they've had 3 training camps, is that done with?
I would say they're getting to know each other still. But you know, Vargas wanted to was to be like his hero, which was Oscar De La Hoya, and that's why he sought out to get Alcazar. And Oscar was a very good boxer, technician, puncher, and that's what I see he's becoming. I have not saw any of Vargas' fights too much before, but I still see a lot of similarities of Oscar in his earlier career.
Well, you're right in what Alcazar is trying to do.
Stop.
He thought that he was too aggressive, too warrior-like, and needed to add some boxing skills, slow down a little bit. But that's his nature, as you can see here. And there's just so much you can do with that.
The thing that I'm looking at, even though I have Vargas maybe slightly ahead on his skills, Lopez is putting a lot of pressure on him. And, you know, going down the stretch, it's going to be interesting to see if Vargas can hold up in the later rounds.
Lopez is certainly pressuring with footwork and power shots, but where he can't match Vargas is in the jab category.
And if you notice inside, also Lopez is muscling him around, using his left shoulder on him a lot.
Good body shot.
Good body shot by Lopez.
Excellent. And a chopping right hand, too.
And a good body shot
by Vargas.
by Vargas.
There's a low blow by
shot.
Vargas. Now the referee, Tony Weeks, excellent referee. Great background, including, of course, Diego Corrales against Jose Luis Castillo, one of the most dramatic fights of all time. And one of the reasons that Tony Weeks is assigned to a fight like this is that he speaks Spanish, but both of these guys speak very good English, so it probably won't be necessary tonight.
All right, hey, listen. Just keep it up little by little, all right? Listen to me, though. How do you feel? Hey, listen, you're letting him beat you to the punch. He's getting off first, all right? You got to get off first, Jose. You're letting him flurry. He's throwing 3, 4, 5 punches. You're letting him flurry, son, all right? Listen, you got to use that jab to close this. Once you get inside, you've got to let go. Jab underneath. Come back up on top, all right? How you feel?
Jesse. En el centro del ring.
Jesse,
no vayas
in the middle
a las
of the
cuerdas.
ring, don't go to the ropes. Okay?
Y de abajo para arriba.
And then work from the bottom to the top, and then laterals. Laterals. Look for those spots. Breathe and relax. Again.
Otra vez.
Again.
Eso.
Alcazar, you recognize from his years with De La Hoya. Only difference is he's added a few gray hairs, as have so many of the rest of us. Lopez's trainer is Henry Gonzalez, whom we know from his relationship with the mercurial heavyweight Chris Arreola. Henry Ramirez, excuse me, whom we know from his relationship with Chris Arreola. Henry is a terrific guy who's very honest and straightforward, and we had a good conversation with him about Arreola, who has changed his eating and training techniques and looks better as he hopes for another shot at a Klitschko.
Stop.
Logic says that since he fought Batali the first time, his next shot, if he gets it, is against Vladimir.
There's a general sense that something like that would happen next year after he's had another fight or two. What do you know about it,
well,
Emmanuel?
I spoke to Henry about that yesterday because I've been really promoting Arreola fight for Vladimir, mainly just to get Vladimir back to fighting in the United States. And it seems that's the only heavyweight that we have in the United States that's credible. But he said he wanted to wait until next year. He felt that he needs a few more fights before he puts him in for Vladimir. So you're right, Larry. 2012 is the target date.
Meanwhile, in the ring, Ramirez's fighter Lopez is having a terrific round as he backs Jessie Vargas into the corner and hammers away at his body. The key punches in this round, a series of left hooks and body shots from Lopez, and he's blunted that Vargas jab by stepping in closer and making it more of a fight. Now he steps back, and Vargas goes back to work with the jab.
I was just going to say that, Jim, if I was Alcazar in Vargas' corner, even though my fighter was winning, I would be very concerned because I'm still looking at the intensity and the pressure and physical strength of Lopez. And if you notice inside, he muscles Vargas around. He pushes him with his left shoulder. And it can be very tough going down the stretch.
More and more
Vargas.
it appears that Vargas needs to create distance and make it more of a boxing match. Lopez is very comfortable with the way it's going right now.
That's what I was saying, because even though he was winning, I was always looking at just the facial expression and the body movement, which to me favors Lopez as the fight goes on.
Stop, I got you. Don't hold that hand out like that.
Whenever they step out to distance, Vargas reestablishes himself. Then when Lopez comes in, Vargas is less effective.
But Lopez is still, to me, pushing the fight. Even though he may be being outpointed, I'm looking at later on the end of the fight, not these rounds.
Well, and I'm looking at what do the judges think of the aggressor in close fights.
Tony Weeks is doing a good job. A lot of blows, which are right on the borderline or high on the cup, not really affecting the fighter. So he hasn't interfered with the action or penalized or wound anyone at this stage.
Tony Weeks is just standing by and watching a terrific fight. Josesito Lopez is making his point in a big way in this round.
That round, I need you to keep it up, all right? I need you to keep that up. Talk to me. How we feeling? Good. Deep breath. Listen. Keep getting inside. Keep banging away, okay? Listen, when he slides on the ropes, fucking put his ass on there and start banging underneath. Don't let him breathe when he's on the rope, all right? Deep breath.
Rin, no quiero que vaya a las cuerdas.
I don't want you to go onto the ropes.
¿Me entiende?
Do you understand me?
Jesse, él nomás quiere estar adentro.
Jesse, all he wants to do is be on the
No se quede
inside.
ahí, vamos.
Don't stay there.
Jab, jab,
Come on,
jab,
jab.
Respire, respire,
Breathe
descanse.
now. Relax.
Eso.
WB box numbers for round 3 make the point. Lopez with very good numbers, 21 of 61. Vargas forced to fight inside, threw 45 power punches, only landed 12. Harold, how do you have it through 3?
Okay, Jim. 2 rounds to 1, 29-28. Jesse Vargas, he won the first 2 rounds. That's why he's ahead by 1 point. But in round number 3, Josesito Lopez took it to him, got him up on the ropes, and hammered him. Lopez is a graduate of that Ken Thompson program in Ontario, California, where they run once a month. Lopez is a real tough guy, real good fighter, and he's landed some great shots when he takes Vargas up on the ropes. 2-1, Jesse Vargas.
He's feeling it.
Lopez actually was a cross-country runner on a state championship team in high school.
And offered a scholarship to college.
Yeah.
Elected to stick with boxing instead, right?
So it seems he would have the stamina to do this.
Sergio Martinez type stamina.
Well, right now, to me, it's going to be very. I may be wrong, but I just can't see Vargas being able to hold up much more than maybe 3 or 4 rounds the way the fight is going. Even though he's skillful, Lopez seems to be mentally such a tough guy, and it's basically fundamentally he's sound, but it's just his mental toughness seems to be a big difference.
Well, how could Vargas use that excellent jab and footwork to change the fight, Emmanuel?
I don't think he's going to have the stamina to do that, but so long. I think that Lopez is just physically and mentally too strong for him.
Fascinating.
Well,
He's burned up a lot of energy in those first few rounds and has not been able to effectively hurt Lopez. That's the difference. So Lopez is picking up the tempo with very little respect for Vargas.
Perfectly well said, as the absence of respect is manifest in the way Josesito Lopez is stalking, and pressuring Jesse Vargas.
Watch your punches. Keep them up. Here we go.
Jesse Vargas with an unbeaten record at 16-0. A lot of hype in the last few weeks. Floyd Mayweather suggesting that if Amir Khan wants to fight Mayweather, he ought to fight Vargas first. But right now, it's Josesito Lopez who's taking over.
Stop.
he's finding out that the path to the stars is strewn with all kinds of obstacles. And if he comes out of this, then he'll be stronger for it. Just as Ortiz was stronger for coming out of his experience with Maidana. Not on that level, obviously.
Stop.
But a real test for a young, unbeaten prospect.
Want to remind you, in our next fight here in Las Vegas, 35-year-old Erik Morales will be fighting Pablo Cano. Much has been made of the fact that Morales can collect the title belt. To the degree that you get respect for getting a title belt against the 12th rated welterweight in the world, I guess so. Meanwhile, the third bout of the evening takes place at Staples Center in Los Angeles. And the two fighters who are matching each other there arrived at Staples 8 minutes apart an hour and a half ago. First, veteran Mexican-American Alfonso Gomez with his wife Jessie arriving at 4:50 p.m. A smile on his face. He has reflected great confidence all week long, as is always the case for Alfonso. And then Canelo Alvarez. 8 minutes later, when Alvarez last fought in Staples Center on the undercard of a pay-per-view fight between Shane Mosley and Sergio Mora last year, it was abundantly clear he was the bigger draw. The crowd noise for him, the response to the fight, way bigger and more demonstrative than what happened that night for Mosley and Mora. So the star is arriving in Los Angeles again. Alvarez is there with all of his fanfare, and Alfonso Gomez hopes to upset the apple cart.
You know, the last round, I thought Vargas may have won that last round, which if he did, it means he's up 3 rounds to 1 on the scorecards. It's just the idea of how well he can hold up going down the stretch.
I think the general impression at this point is that Lopez is getting the better of it. And I always wonder how that can influence the crowd, the judges, and so forth. He's coming forward.
But
landing
Vargas,
the bigger
but
shots.
Vargas is, you know, if Lopez doesn't really open up a lot, Vargas is landing enough punches where he can still gradually have a little slight edge in the scoring.
Well,
Stop.
I think we're seeing that some of the Alcazar influence in the way he's trying to move out of the line of fire. Where once upon a time he would just walk through it,
Right.
or try to.
But he still has a tendency to let Vargas get off with a lot of punches before he punches back.
However, Vargas's punches in the last 2 rounds haven't had anywhere near the same snap
I agree.
as those of Josesito Lopez. Now, one troublesome thing we've seen too much of in the last couple of years is judges obviously swayed by height and star power. It happened twice in New Jersey where you saw favorable scorecards for Paul Williams, which really weren't logical. Gave him a totally undeserved win over Arislan de Lara. We haven't seen it that badly here in Las Vegas, but Vargas got a big buildup. Will the judges see that Lopez is getting the better of him in a pretty good fight?
And Lopez would go in and make Vargas throw 5 punches. He'll block all of them, move in again, make him throw 5 more, block him, and he's just tiring him out slowly.
The stamina thing is really showing up at this
It's going to
point.
be a big factor. Then he physically is very strong. We've seen that he's still using the left shoulder and physically manhandling Vargas every chance he gets.
What about the notion of a second win, Emmanuel?
I don't think it's going to happen with Vargas. Sometimes, but I don't think so. If Vargas doesn't hurt Lopez somewhere along the line, he's got a long, hard night ahead of him.
Well, he just threw an excellent left hand to the body, which momentarily stopped Lopez in his tracks. Lopez hasn't thrown a meaningful punch since that body shot.
And that's why I say that Vargas could possibly still be winning some of these rounds. Because Lopez is doing a good job of blocking the punches, but he isn't returning that much.
There's the jab of Vargas, potentially his best weapon in the fight if he can make it the dominant element. But too often for him, Josesito Lopez has simply stepped past that jab, walked inside, and pressured him effectively, as he's doing right now.
Let him go, Jesse.
When you're talking about the scoring, keep in mind that the real promoter of this event is Floyd Mayweather.
Stop.
Oh, yep, another fact.
Okay, Jesse.
Jesse.
Good, Jesse. Otro round. Bueno.
Another good round, Jesse.
Como este, okay?
Like this one,
Así
just like this
manténgalo.
one. Just like that. Keep it that way.
Jesse.
Jesse.
Escúchame.
Jesse, listen.
Jesse, él lo quiere luchar, él lo quiere llevar a las cuerdas. Es la única.
Showing you nothing you didn't expect, right? Hey.
Even though Vargas is throwing most of the punches, this right hand right here from Lopez may have been the most effective punch of the entire round. Look at the follow through, the body weight.
Copy box numbers through 5 rounds on jabs, making my point. Vargas 30 out of 212, Lopez 10 out of 85. So Lopez is throwing fewer. It's not really an important weapon for him. He wants to get past the jabbing and into the fight.
Well, you know, on my scorecard, I'm looking down the stretch. I see the fight favored him, but he still hasn't punched enough where he might be down on the scorecard. So he's going to have to step it up this last half of the fight.
It's going to be interesting to see what Harold tells us at the beginning of the next round. This fight is scheduled for 10. We're in the 6th. First 2 rounds, Harold Letterman scored for Vargas, and he seemed to be sharp at that time. But even then, Lopez was stepping inside and creating pressure. And more, that's been the signature of the fight. What you're watching right there.
Stop. Come on, guys, keep him up. Stop. Come on, keep him up.
This is an entertaining opening bout for the evening. Gets people in the mood to see some fights.
Well, from what I could see on the entire card, with the exception of one fight, I'm very excited about all of the fights tonight.
Here there, another one of those lulls from Lopez, Emmanuel Stewart.
Yep.
Suddenly an absence of activity, and he misses 2 haymakers.
Well, I think that you have to give Vargas credit for the inactivity. He's trying to lower the temperature of these exchanges.
And I think he's doing a good job. He looks tired and exhausted, but he still will throw the punches. And Lopez blocks the punches, but doesn't return enough. His volume of punches down is too low. But going down the stretch, you know, it's going to be a nightmare, I think, for Vargas.
When do we get to the stretch?
Yep. Well, we're going in the last half. You got a good point.
Well, there's a good left hook upstairs by Vargas, but prior to that, the 2 best punches in the round were terrific left hooks to the body by Josesito Lopez. And now again, Vargas looks tired, and Lopez is starting to pick it up.
And there's a cut or on the right eye, or under the right eye perhaps, or alongside it, of Lopez.
Lopez just got away with a very low blow to the right hip of Jessie Vargas. I'm not sure Tony Weeks has even spoken to the 2 fighters in the fight.
I guess he likes the fight too.
Now there's a Weeks moment, but they've been weeks apart.
Well, it's going to be very interesting to see the next round, the intensity that Lopez fights with now that he has to cut.
That was another aggressive round for Lopez when he was throwing, and he punctuated it with a hard left hook in the closing seconds. Meanwhile, let's go back to the arrival situation, and right here in Vegas, there's the very happy Victor Ortiz, and why shouldn't he be happy? He's got a $2.5 million guarantee tonight. He arrived at 5:15, way early. And, you know, 5 months ago, he was a challenger and a vast underdog against Andre Berto in Connecticut, and with one giant performance, he leaped into this pay-per-view. He ought to be happy. And then 1 hour later, actually 58 minutes later, local resident Floyd Mayweather, arriving with his group, the signature bodyguards behind him, blacking out the sky, and Floyd with a happy look on his face as he came in for something which is entirely customary for him, something with which he is vastly more familiar than the opponent, the atmosphere of a big pay-per-view fight. CompuBox numbers through the 6th round, Jessie Vargas landing 97 out of 469, and Josesito Lopez landing 76 out of 314. Lopez has landed the harder punches, but Vargas has thrown 155 more, which may figure into the judging equation, although Harold doesn't pay attention to that. He focuses on the quality of the landed punches. How do you have it so far?
There's no question, Jim. Josesito Lopez is the harder puncher for sure. I've got it 3 rounds apiece, 57-57. Josesito Lopez has won on my card 3 out of the last 4 rounds. The only round I gave to Vargas was round 5, which I gave him 10-9 because of the fact that I thought Josesito Lopez just didn't throw enough punches. But in the last 4 rounds, Josesito Lopez pressured him, landed a cleaner, harder shots. He's the effective aggressor. He certainly has caught up, you know, and overtaken that 2-0 lead that Vargas had early. So all even, 3 rounds apiece.
And while we were watching Ortiz and Mayweather enter, Nevada State Athletic Commission Director Keith Kaiser held up a note letting us know that the cut outside the right eye of Josesito Lopez was caused by an accidental headbutt, not by a punch.
Which is a good thing for Lopez if the fight has to be stopped.
Stop, I got you.
It could be Vargas too. You never know. That's our unofficial scorecard.
Well, but you know, rather than it being stopped and losing
automatically,
by TKO.
Yes.
I thought it was interesting watching Mayweather.
Oh, that was a solid left hook and right hand there by Lopez.
Now, this is what Lopez needs to do all the way through. Because to me, I would not be that comfortable with the way the scorecard could possibly be going at this stage. I mean, you know, he may feel that he's a stronger fighter, but he still hasn't thrown enough punches.
He's got a cut outside his eye. He's been not busy enough in some stretches. He needs to bring the heat. Larry, you were about to say something.
I just thought it was interesting that Mayweather came in with his children. I've never seen that, but he's so smart about trying to present his image, make himself a sympathetic character, or a lot of people don't see him that way. So I just had to wonder, because it's other minds but mine that could even think of that.
I can almost hear Floyd saying, Larry, I'm not selling or promoting anything there. I just like to have my children with me.
Stop, let him go.
And I'm sure he does.
I'm not saying you're wrong.
I'm just saying I don't remember ever seeing anything quite like that before.
This has been a little bit of an in-and-out round. Not easy to score. But if I personally were scoring it, I wouldn't be able to forget the solid left hand and right hand that Lopez landed in the corner right above us in the middle of the round.
Yes, and I mean, in some cases, just his physical strength and manhandling, which shouldn't be taken into consideration, but still they could affect the scoring.
Cover up and let 4 or 5 punches bounce off your face and gloves and try to get off with one. Listen to me, son. Listen to me. This kid is tiring out.
Erik Morales fighting next. Wearing the WBC t-shirt because that organization plans to proffer a belt to him tonight if he can beat the 21-year-old opponent. And you see his father, El Mastrito, there behind him. Their alliance, one of the great father-son partnerships in the sport over the course of the past 20 years. Together again, a smile on the face of Dad. Nothing he likes better than training his son in a big fight. Harold Letterman gave that card to Jessie Vargas, putting him ahead slightly in the fight on the unofficial scorecard of Harold Letterman.
Henry Ramirez, the trainer of Lopez, gave him some great instructions. He said, you're going to have to let your punches go, man. You're probably behind, and you have to punch. And he's getting in position, doing everything, but letting the punches go. And that's his biggest problem. If he starts punching, I think he could possibly stop this guy, or either at least could win decisively. But right now, I have the fight up in the air.
Time. Get over here.
Even Weeks saw that one.
Hey, stay right here. Here, come here. Here, 1 point, low blow. 1 point, low blow. 1 point, low blow. Come on, keep him up, baby. Keep him up.
That
Stay
could
over
be
here.
tremendously meaningful in a fight like this.
Thank you. He is a good referee, but he hadn't been warning the fighters really before for the low blows. They were marginal, but they felt free to keep going for it.
Ready to go? Okay. All right, here we go.
I agree. I was a little surprised, especially with no cautions or warnings, to just take a point away. But that was his discretion and his decision.
Well, I remember calling 2 earlier Vargas low blows about which Weeks didn't do anything, but I guess he was charting them.
Stop. I got you.
Round 8 of a scheduled 10. Both fighters have had their moments. Good hard right hand by Lopez. Generally speaking, he's landed the harder shots. That was concussive impact. Jessie Vargas seems to realize the need to throw more punches, and he's letting his hands go with that jab. At this point, Emmanuel, Vargas seems clearly to understand that greater output is his way to win the fight.
That's exactly, and I was just thinking if I was in this corner like Alcazar's work is cut out. For him to try to keep his fight on his feet, then keep him to just doing what he's doing right now. Because he possibly could win this fight, but I don't know with the fight being close and that point taken away this round, that could affect the fight. But regardless of what, this is a close fight.
Well, if it continues this way, it's a 9-9 round because Vargas is winning it. This was a tremendous opportunity for Lopez if he could have put his imprint on the round and made it 10-8.
Well, we're in the stretch now, Manuel, and Vargas still looks lively and has made some adjustments to his credit.
I've been very impressed with that. And it's mainly because Lopez's volume of punches is too low.
Let me try this again. I tried it a few rounds ago. Second wind for Vargas? I'm not really a big believer in second wind, but he's come back a little bit, and now Lopez seems to realize the urgency. He wants the round, and he's coming on with a burst of power shots. But he's got to let his hands go a lot. Good left hook.
Stop. I got you.
October 22, it's the premiere of the 4-part series 24/7 Pacquiao Marquez. Follow both men behind the scenes as they prepare for the third fight in their epic series. Following 24/7 that night, live boxing with the next Filipino sensation, Nonito Donaire, taking on Omar Narvaez. And don't forget, the HBO pay-per-view matchup between Manny Pacquiao and Juan Manuel Marquez, live on November 12th.
He's breathing hard, he's throwing, he's dragging his punch, he's not snapping anything back. Listen to me. You get him on the ropes, he's got...
Here you see the blow that had to punch the point deducted from Vargas. It was a punch low, but it wasn't really where I think it did that much damage. It was still like midpoint of the cup. But that was the call of the referee. But I was a little surprised without any warning at all that he took a point away.
Power shots in the 8th round. Vargas landed 7 out of 33. Lopez given credit by CompuBox for 14 out of 34. 9th round of the scheduled 10. Seemingly a relatively close fight. Carol Letterman agreed with me that the last round was 9-9, and that leaves Vargas with a 1-point margin on the Letterman scorecard. No necessary relationship between Harold's unofficial score and what the 3 official judges here will do.
Stop. Oh, come on. Let me go lost.
Whether he wins the decision or not, Lopez has made some fans and done himself some good in this fight.
Yeah, and not to belittle young Vargas, who's only had 16 professional fights and coming along, but of course, Floyd Mayweather placed a certain spotlight on Vargas when he said, oh, if Amir Khan wants to fight me, he should have to fight Jessie Vargas. Jessie Vargas could be really, really good, but right now, I think if I were Khan, I'd say, fine, I'll fight him at 4 o'clock Tuesday afternoon. You know, anytime.
Right, bring him in as a sparring partner.
Doesn't matter. He's not ready for that.
Watch the back of the head,
It's really interesting. Even though Vargas is tired, he's still outworking Lopez. Big time.
It's almost as though Lopez doesn't understand the urgency of letting his hands go.
You know, when he gets in position, if the opponent starts punching, he feels it's more important. He blocks all those punches and only can work after the guy quits punching instead of maybe blocking one punch and returning a punch.
So it's not about counter punches.
No, he stands and blocks, and then Vargas moves out of the range.
Given the kind of fight he's fighting, I can't find a way to be critical of Lopez.
Set him up.
And now there's an abrasion or cut on the right eye of Vargas.
Stop.
Another factor, of course, in the complex chemistry of scoring fights is, are you coming forward or are you going backward? There's still a tendency on the part, particularly of some American judges, to score against guys who go backward, even if they're dominating the fight by counterpunching. Sometimes we see it. And Josesito Lopez has been the aggressor every second of this fight.
I agree
Let him go.
that the aggressor should get the benefit of the doubt in any close round.
But you remember, Vargas is not really running. He's backing up, but he stops at those punches. So, a lot of times you say you give credit to the guy who's throwing all of the punches. To a guy walking forward but not punching can make a difference, too.
Some judges are sophisticated enough to know and see that, and some aren't.
This is a close fight to me.
Need a big round. You got to close the show. You let him take command back in that round. Listen to me. I don't know how many times I have to tell you. You cannot chase this guy around the fucking ring. You got to cut. This guy's legs are gone, Jose. His legs are gone. Deep breath. How you feeling? Listen to me. Last round, son. You got to dig deep. Last round.
Es el último round.
The last round.
La pelea ganada, no la vaya.
You have the about one. Don't throw it away.
Okay. Respire.
Breathe. Deep.
Otro
Go.
Más.
Another one.
Otro más. Yes, boxearlo con jab.
Box him with jabs and lateral. All right? It's the last round, Jesse.
Well, the cut over Josesito Lopez's right eye has opened. It's now an ugly cut, and that may be drawing some of his focus away from what he has to do in the fight. Average CompuBox numbers per round, Vargas 15 out of 81. 81 Lopez 12 out of 50. And Harold Letterman again gave the 9th round to Vargas, which gives him a functional edge on the Harold Letterman scorecard. Henry Ramirez kept telling Lopez, cut off the ring, and I don't think Lopez really knows how to do it yet.
Great defensive moves right there on Lopez's part, but after that he should have really opened up very hard on Vargas, knowing that Vargas would be needing to recharge. But instead, he's letting the guy keep punching. Unless you're going to land a devastating one-punch knockout, you can't afford to let a guy do this, especially when you're stronger than he is and you're in better condition, and the guy's legs is weak. But he's not punching enough.
So if Vargas winds up with a victory, it's because he out-thought the opponent in the ring. He's thinking better.
And punching better, more.
Stop, I got you.
Give him credit for what he's doing. Who knows whose legs are gone? I don't know how you can tell that the way he's fighting, Emmanuel.
His legs, he doesn't look that strong and solid in his legs as compared to Lopez. But he's punching.
And now Lopez is backing up, something he hasn't done all fight long.
Nope.
Because Vargas is pressing. He's come out in the 10th round to make an impression, and he is.
Stop.
Some fighters are completely unruffled by cuts. They don't bother them at all. They fight right through it. Arturo Gatti comes to mind. Some fighters simply cannot concentrate or focus effectively once they've been cut. Juan Diaz was a perfect case of that. Josesito Lopez, since he got an accidental headbutt cut outside his right eye, hasn't been the same fighter.
Let him up.
Vargas can coast to the finish from here, it would appear. He's made the point.
This is a very big round for Vargas. I never expected this in the 10th round, but this is his best round of the fight.
Hard left hook. Lopez's left hook momentarily stunned Vargas.
Stop, I got you. Let him go.
That was a huge power shot, giving Lopez one last chance.
Vargas appears hurt, but
Still,
he's just got to last about 20 seconds more.
He's slipping and sliding, staying out of the way of getting knocked out, and possibly have won the fight based on his volume of punches.
Both fighters are winners in my book.
A fight to the finish for sure.
Volteo para acá.
Let's take a look at that last big flurry by Lopez and watch the left hook, which sets up the final chance. That was the big shot, and Vargas begins backing away immediately. It caught him half on the neck and half on the ear. Nobody likes that, but Vargas made it to the finish line. Harold, what was your final scorecard
Well,
here?
Jim, I had it 96-93 Jessie Vargas. In the last 4 rounds, I thought he won all of them, except that, he loses a point in round 8 for that awful call by Tony Weeks, in my estimation. I just hate it when a referee involves himself in a close fight. In other words, a fight is determined by something that the referee did. It bothers the life out of me. I want to see the fighter's fight, not the referee.
All right, Harold.
What are you talking about specifically, Harold?
The point taken away by Tony Weeks.
Why not?
Because I think it was totally uncalled for, Larry.
I respectfully agree to disagree.
Okay.
Harold, what about the 3 official judges who are scoring the fight? Take us through them.
All righty. Dwayne Ford, he teaches the other judges how to judge. This is a guy that teaches all the seminars for judges. He works all over the world. He's the real veteran. He's a great judge. Dick Houck, a guy on the way up, Jim. He hasn't worked a lot of real big, high-profile fights, but he still does a nice job each and every time. Patricia Moore-Strowman, she's probably, one of the outstanding female judges in the world today. She's very well respected, very well known. She's been judging for years. I like her a lot.
You dislike any judges, Harold?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's quite a few. Quite a few.
So we are waiting, and now Michael Buffer stands by with the official decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, here at the MGM Grand of Las Vegas, we go to the scorecards. Dick Howell scores it 95-94. He has it for Lopez. Patricia Moore-Strowman scores it 96-93. She scores it for Vargas. And Dwayne Ford scores it 95-94 to the winner by split decision. Still undefeated, Jessie, the new generation Vargas.
So Vargas gets the call. No doubt a nod to his greater activity level. And you hear the response of some in the crowd who favored the harder, more aggressive puncher. Final CompuBox numbers will show you why Vargas won the fight. Very simply, he threw more punches. He throws 342 more punches and lands 45 more. Lopez lands at a higher connect rate and landed the harder blows in the bout. But Lopez had long, flat stretches when he simply wouldn't let his hands go and throw, and Jessie Vargas was able to continue doing so effectively enough to win the fight. Power shots and a small numerical advantage in the number of landed punches for Vargas, but surely Lopez scored the more concussive impact and did more damage with his 96 landed shots. Still, it was not enough to win him the fight. And take a look at punch zone. And this is interesting in showing the distribution of punches. 39 body shots landed on Jessie Vargas, 44 body shots landed on Josesito Lopez. Upstairs, they work at just about the same rate. But ultimately, Vargas moves his record to 17-0. With our fight tonight, plus the Pacquiao-Marquez rematch in November, Las Vegas has again become the center of the boxing world. Still to come tonight, Mexican boxing legend Erik Morales tries to keep his resurgence going, this time against 21-year-old last-second throw-in opponent Pablo Cesar Cano. And then in a special attraction live from Staples Center in Los Angeles, Canelo Alvarez faces one of his toughest tests yet in veteran Alfonso Gomez. Then our main event, Floyd Mayweather against Victor Ortiz. When last we saw Floyd in the ring 16 months ago, he was handling Shane Mosley with ease. And before that, he dealt with Ricky Hatton and Juan Manuel Marquez just as easily. But Victor Ortiz is several things those opponents were not. Young, strong, and a southpaw. Let's see how Mayweather deals with the obstacles tonight. But before we get to our main event, let's take a look at HBO's upcoming boxing schedule. On October 1, World Championship Boxing returns, with middleweight king Sergio Martinez back in action, coming off of 2 straight knockout victories.
And this is an amazing performance. Maybe Sergio Martinez's most impressive performance to date.
He'll face England's Darren Barker. 2 weeks later, HBO pay-per-view brings you a light heavyweight showdown between Bernard Hopkins and Chad Dawson. Earlier this year, Hopkins made history with a victory over John Pascal.
The oldest man ever to win a legitimate championship in boxing.
But Dawson's youth and talent will challenge the elder statesman on October 15. Boxing After Dark returns October 22 with the Filipino Flash, Nonito Donaire, in his first bout since his sensational knockout over Fernando Montiel. He'll take on undefeated Argentine Omar Narvaez. November brings the long-awaited third meeting between Manny Pacquiao and Juan Manuel Marquez. Over 7 years since first they battled to a draw. More than 3 years since a disputed Pacquiao win.
One more right hand for Marquez. One more combination for Pacquiao. They trade shots down the stretch.
They'll reignite their stirring rivalry November 12th on HBO pay-per-view. On December 3, HBO pay-per-view brings you the compelling rematch between Miguel Cotto and Antonio Margarito. It's been 3 years since Margarito pulled off his stunning upset of the then undefeated Cotto.
The punishment has accumulated to the point where Cotto has nothing left, and Antonio Margarito has the
victory he's been waiting for all his life. With abundant controversy and bad blood between them, both fighters aim finally to settle their score. It's an exciting few months in the ring on HBO's Boxing After Dark, World Championship Boxing, and HBO pay-per-view. And now we bring you back to ringside. In a few minutes, we're going to have Erik Morales against Pablo Cano in the ring here. But we remind you the next fight on the card after that, Canelo Alvarez against Alfonso Gomez in Staples Center in Los Angeles. A rare split feed for a pay-per-view. And our man in Los Angeles is Mario Solis. Let's go there right now. What's up, Mario?
All right, Jim. Thank you, Jim. Big weekend, of course, here in Los Angeles. The Emmys taking place tomorrow across the street. The fight here tonight, of course, and festivities kicking off yesterday with the official weigh-in. The champ, trim and fit, tipping the scales at 153.5 pounds. Alfonso Gomez, the challenger, looking lean and mean, coming in a pound lighter than Canelo. Now, despite being a 10-1 favorite, Alvarez claims he is not underestimating his opponent, and it is now Canelo's responsibility to headline a night at Staples Center. When responding to Gomez's comments that Alvarez will finally have to face a Mexican fighter, Canelo says he doesn't prepare for a specific nationality as much as a specific opponent or style. Now, Gomez comes in confident, fueled by the results of very tough competitive fights against the likes of Jesus Soto Caraz, Arturo Gatti, Jose Luis Castillo, and of course, Miguel Cotto. So the stage is set. Is coming up next here from Los Angeles.
All right, now we bring you back live to Las Vegas. And the next fight in the ring is Erik Morales against Pablo Cano. Let's take a look at the tail of the tape. As Morales enters the ring, a 14-year age difference between the two fighters, but Morales excited the entire boxing world in a losing performance against Marcos Maidana earlier this year. Let's take a look at what happened in Morales-Maidana on April 9. In the first round, Maidana landed a shot that closed Erik Morales' right eye. Maidana was already a heavy favorite in the fight, regarded as the harder puncher for sure, against a guy who was coming up to 140 pounds. And then suddenly, from round 2 on, Morales produced the kind of performance that wakened the echoes from his Hall of Fame career. Remember, this is a guy who won his first 40 fights before finally losing in the second of his battles with Marco Antonio Barrera. Morales was the last man to beat Manny Pacquiao and defeated him on American soil. At the end of the fight, the Argentine handlers lifted Maidana, but Morales was lifted as well. It became a majority decision for Maidana, but it earned Morales another big shot. And he was supposed to face Lucas Matisse of Argentina tonight, but Matisse came down with an illness in the last couple of weeks, and Pablo Cesar Cano was thrown in at the last minute. He has had 21 fights previously. Every one of his professional fights has taken place in Mexico, so he appears here for the first time in the United States. Tail of the tape for Cano against Morales. And right at the top, the 14-year age advantage, a height advantage of 1 inch for Erik El Terrible from Tijuana, arm length advantage for Cano, who is from Mexico City. They both weigh 140 pounds at the weigh-in yesterday and tonight. Morales is up to 150, and Cano is up to 151. And one faint echo from the past, Cano is trained by Rudy Perez, the same man who trained Marco Antonio Barrera through his great trilogy with Morales. So familiar faces in the ring against each other. Let's go to Michael Buffer for the official introductions.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the MGM Grand of Las Vegas, Nevada, USA, Mayweather Promotions and Golden Boy Promotions, in association with Box Latino Promotions, are proud to present a World Championship contest sanctioned by the Nevada State Athletic Commission and the World Boxing Council, WBC. Supervisor at ringside for this bout, Chuck Williams. Sponsored by Tecate, Cerveza con Carácter, DeWalt Power Tools, new 20-volt Max Lithium Ion System, AT&T, get it faster with AT&T, rethink possible. Southwest Airlines, fly Southwest, it's the right call. and Cancun Tourism. Discover paradise. The three judges at ringside scoring this bout on the 10-point system will be Tom Miller, Dave Moretti, and Ricardo Ocasio. And inside the ring, in charge of the action at the bell, referee Kenny Bayless. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the officials are ready, the fighters are ready. We are ready for a moment in boxing history. 12 rounds of boxing for the vacant WBC Super Lightweight Championship of the World. Fighting out of the blue corner, wearing black, official weight 140 pounds. His professional record, an excellent one. 23 victories, including 18 knockouts, with one draw. From Tlalnepantla, Mexico, here is the undefeated Pablo Cesar, El Demoledor Cano. And fighting out of the red corner, wearing white, also officially weighing in at 140 pounds. His professional record, 51 victories, including 35 knockouts, with 7 defeats. In 3 different divisions, he is the 5-time future Hall of Fame world champion, damas y caballeros de la zona norte, Tijuana, Mexico, la leyenda, Erik, el terrible
Okay, gentlemen, punches here are okay. Punches here are okay. We went over the rules in the dressing room. Keep this fight clean at all times. Protect yourself at all times. And what I say, you must obey. Good luck. Buena suerte. Tuck him up.
First, a correction. It's Cano who fought 3 weeks ago and is the late substitute, not Lopez, as I said earlier. As far as Morales is concerned, there is the living proof that you don't have to win them all to be considered a great fighter.
A year and a half ago, Erik Morales was done, finished. No way you were ever going to see him at this level again. What he did against Maidana earlier this year to revive his marquee value is one of the most unexpected things we've seen in boxing in recent years. But of course, at the end of the day, the old Warriors, Emmanuel, don't forget how to fight.
No, but I think he's one a good young fighter tonight. I don't know that much about Cano, but what I saw from his record, he's not a bum. Even though he came in with less experience than most of the top fighters, he still seems to be a pretty decent fighter.
24 fights, not 21 for Cano coming in. 23 wins, no losses, 1 draw, 18 KOs. That's the record in Mexico of somebody who's a pretty good fighter. If you do that in Ukraine or Sweden, we're not 100% certain about the quality of the opposition. We're a little bit surer that in Mexico, somebody in there had to be a pretty good fighter.
You know, of course, Morales made his mark as a featherweight in that wonderful era of featherweights. His 3 fights with Barrera, memorable each one. His 3 fights with Pacquiao. Here he is at 140, closer to his natural weight as a 35-year-old. And still a man of extraordinary will, which is what he reminded everyone of when he fought Maidana.
Cano is longer. Seems at this moment perhaps to have the stiffer jab.
It's a little better. He fights more like a youthful fighter. Morales is a little stiff. but he was always that way to some degree. The other kid is more flexible, loose, and I think at this stage I would say he's probably won the round. And sometimes when you get these late replacements, you never know what you're going to get. You know, you can say, well, the guy hasn't had that much experience, but that doesn't mean that he can't fight, especially when he just fought recently, as you pointed out, Larry.
Well, in training to fight Lucas Matisse, certainly you're going to be conscious of the fact that you're fighting a body puncher supreme, somebody who focuses to the rib cage. This is a different story, and he had less than 2 weeks to adjust. Hard left hook by Cano,
who is a naturally bigger man. Whether that counts will remain to be seen.
Bien, bien, mijo.
Very nice, son. Very nice with the Vaseline. Relax. Relax. Try to use your combinations. 2 to 3 punches, not just one. Use your jab, jab, and then when you come in, bend your waist, fake him a bit. Press him a bit more this round. I want you to work this one, the uppercut and cross. Let him be, let him be. Let him be work. Relax. No issue. You gave him his water. His water, good. Where's the mouth guard? Keep your rhythm. Throw the right here also. The right to the body.
CompuBox numbers in round one. Morales 14 out of 46, 30%. Cano 19 out of 68. Frankly, Emmanuel, I saw very little in the first round to remind us of what Morales did here in April.
Yes, and I know even though they're both fighting at 140, you can see the soft body age weight on the waistline of Morales, which means that, you know, it's you can see his age. It's a lot of skin, whereas his other fighters, younger, you can see his body looks firm, and he's much more fluid with his movements and his punches.
Another hard left hook from Cano, and he just missed with a big right hand. And you heard Jose Morales asking his son between rounds, loosen up. You look tight in the first round. Now Erik Morales is starting to let his hands go a little bit more. Hard right hand inside by Cano, landed flush. There's another. If Erik Morales can't find a way to stop Cano's right hand, this could be a long night for him.
Yeah, you can see a little age, but, you know, Morales is a good puncher, and I think going in the stretch, he's going to be dependent on his punching power. He's look like he's not working for a decision. He's going to try to knock him out.
I don't know that he has shown that he can be a good puncher at this weight.
I agree, because to me, it's not a good natural weight for him. It's the weight that he has to fight at if he fights at this age, but it's still a lot of flesh.
Now Morales is starting to punch with a little bit more snap. Although you saw the jab from Cano knock him back there. There's another right hand lands for Cano, and another one, and Morales' face is starting to show the damage already from Cano's right hands.
And this is what Morales is famous for.
But every time he lands a good punch, Cano comes right back. He never lets Morales really take control over the fight.
In 58 professional fights, Erik Morales has only twice lost by knockout, both of those to a fellow named Pacquiao. He outdueled Pacquiao on merit in their first fight with his brilliant jab. Pacquiao's only loss on American soil.
Morales has been well matched in his comeback with 4 fights. To make the best impression to get here, you wonder if they made a mistake here in matching him with this late replacement.
Very good statement, Larry, because this kid is still fluid, and when Morales finishes up with his punches, he leaves himself halfway off balance because of the age. And this is when the kid comes back with punches, particularly left hook after Morales punches.
Even at 35, Morales had a speed advantage against Marcos Maidana. He does not appear to have a speed advantage here tonight.
A ver, espérate.
Let's see, let's see.
¿Mucho?
A lot?
La verdad, sí.
Well, truthfully, yes.
A ver, métele.
Nope. Put some Vaseline on it.
No le abras, nada más.
Don't open it.
Tírate más a fondo, hijo. Tírate más a fondo. Barrito. ¿Ya le dio agüita? ¿Ya le dio agüita?
Give him some water already?
Este es por las derechas. Necesito
But this is because of the right hand. Keep walking to your left. Walk to your left. Catch him. Catch his punch.
Here you see what I was referring to earlier. When Morales throws a punch, he leaves himself a little bit off balance, and this young fighter comes back with a counter punch every time. He never lets Morales land something effectively without having to pay for it.
Cano landed 25 out of 66 in that round to 17 of 64 for Morales. And Cano's punches are already beginning to break Morales' face up just a little bit. So the first two rounds have not gone well for the aging warrior against the 21-year-old near novice who has been brought in the last 2 weeks to fight him. This fight is itself a statement on the increasing bankruptcy of governing body title belts. When Matisse was supposed to be the opponent, and partially because of Morales' thrilling performance against Maidana in a loss, the governing body that's situated in Mexico decided that this would be a fight for a title belt. The obvious aim to give Morales a chance to claim to be the first Mexican fighter to win title belts in 4 different weight classes. But if you give a title belt to the winner of this fight, he's nowhere near the best 140-pound fighter in the world. He's not even in the same discussion with fighters like Amir Khan and Tim Bradley. And if the belt winds up going to a 21-year-old who was not expected to be in the fight in the first place, that's probably exactly the right statement on the value of this, quote, title fight, unquote.
It's one of those eye-rolling titles. But again, it just reminds us that titles don't make fighters, fighters make titles.
100%. Floyd Mayweather no longer bothers with title belts. That's why this fight is for Victor Ortiz's title belt tonight. Uppercut for Cano.
Cano is keeping his composure very good as Morales starts to step it up and punch at him. He's still firing right back.
That's a good right cross by Morales, maybe his best punch of the fight.
Morales is stepping it up and going for power punches here, but Cano takes advantage of Morales as being off balance after he punches out, and that's why he comes back with those punches, because he's a better balanced out fighter in terms of his footwork and balance.
Rounds in the books for Morales against Cano, and we go to the dressing room of Floyd Mayweather, where his hands are being wrapped by one of the great aging institutions in boxing, Rafael Martin, who is 83 years old and has worked in boxing for more than 60 years. Floyd's extremely fond of him, loves working with him. Rafael's the cut man. How often has Floyd ever been cut? Meanwhile, we go to the dressing room of Victor Ortiz, and here's the news. Victor Ortiz, unofficially tonight, weighs 164 pounds, meaning he has gone up 17 pounds from yesterday's weigh-in. Floyd Mayweather weighs unofficially 150, meaning that Ortiz will take into the ring tonight a functional 14-pound weight advantage. But can he make it mean something? How will he use it? Those will be the questions as Ortiz and Mayweather come into the ring together after this fight and one more. CompuBox numbers in the third round. Morales, 13 out of 31 jabs. He got his jab going. That helped him back into the fight. 22 out of 53 overall. Cano, 20 out of 66. Harold, how do you have it through 3?
Okay, Jim, I've got a 2-1, 29-28. Pablo Cesar Cano. I thought he won the first 2 rounds with those right hands. Somehow or another, Erik Morales really aged since the Maidana fight. I mean, his punches are very slow, Jim. If you watch Erik Morales, I mean, he was always known for good hand speed. I'm telling you, it takes 10 seconds for that right hand and that left jab to reach Cano every time. I mean, you see that? It's just very slow. You can almost see it coming. He slowed up considerably over what he used to be, and Cano's taking advantage by landing nice right hands. 2-1, Pablo Cesar Cano.
Fighting a Maidana who comes straight to you was into Morales' sweet spot. Fighting a young fighter with movement is a sour spot. Good right hand by Morales.
Yep. Starts
Shook
a
up
rally.
Cano for a mini-second.
Best punch of the fight for Erik. See something that looks like possible blood outside the left eye of Cano. Could it be that Morales' right hand opened a cut?
I believe so. I've never seen him, but I
And
think it was
Cano
the right
begins
hand.
pawing at the left eye. As the blood is flowing now from above Pablo Cano's left eye.
And blood has enraged Morales.
And suddenly Morales comes alive again.
Enraged and engaged.
Well, we talked in the first fight about the disturbance that blood brings to some fighters and others seem able to ignore it. Cano, at first, was clearly bothered by the cut. Now he's trying to get back in gear. And if that cut was opened by Morales' right hand, that's a big score. It gives him a working base from which he can win the fight.
Well, it looked like it did, and it looks like it's really bothering the young fighter. I don't know that he's ever had to deal with that.
Cano's eye is swelling as well as bleeding. So the fight changed significantly in that round. Meanwhile, we take another look live outside Staples Center in Los Angeles. When last Canelo Alvarez fought in Staples Center on the undercard of a pay-per-view between Shane Mosley and Sergio Mora, he proved to be the bigger attraction, and you expect a really good-sized crowd in Staples tonight for the kid who has aroused so much excitement in Mexico. He's 21 years old. He already has more than 30 professional fights on his dossier, and he still says there are 12 more that haven't even been counted into the official record yet. An extraordinary output of fights for such a young fighter. Meanwhile, Alfonso Gomez hasn't had a lot of activity. Really only 2 fights in the last year and a half. And one of them was a 2-round outing against Calvin Green. So Gomez is a little bit lesser known as a commodity coming into that fight with Canelo Alvarez, for whom activity is the hallmark of his career.
Hold on.
Round 5 of the scheduled 12. Erik Morales pulls back even on the unofficial Harold Letterman scorecard.
But Morales is trying to home for that straight right hand, and he's been landing continually. And Cano, even though he's a young fighter, he should have figured out some kind of way to neutralize that one punch, because that's the main punch that Morales is landing.
Erik Morales landed 16 power shots in the last round. He's been building through the fight. First couple of rounds didn't look too good. Third round was better. Fourth round, he vaulted to another level, partially because of that right hand that opened a cut over the left eye of Pablo Cano.
Cano doesn't seem to be a big puncher. He seems to be a pretty basically fundamentally sound kid, fair speed, good boxing instincts, but not a power puncher, and not an extremely fast fighter neither. So he's caught somewhere in between.
So you figure the 18 knockouts in 24 fights probably the result of accumulation of punishment.
Yes, and the quality of the opponents we don't know, but I don't see he's a big puncher.
Good quick left hook by Cano as he stepped away from Morales. Body shots by Cano. He seems now to be getting his feet back on the ground after clearly having been bothered by the cut in the last round.
Yeah, his face is still swelling up, and you know he's an immature young fighter, so those injuries may bother him going through as the fight goes on.
You may recall that Morales cut Pacquiao in their first fight.
And the cut bothered Pacquiao and helped Morales to victory over Pacquiao. Unanimous decision, 115-113 on all three scorecards. No controversy. Virtually every ringside expert agreed that night Morales had won the fight. Good hard right hand by Cano. Set up by a jab and a body shot. He's got his game back. And he's outworking Erik Morales as he hammers him along the ropes. Morales doing a good job ducking and slipping there. Nothing big landed.
And I think he's a little grateful at the moment that Cano stepped back.
And while Cano was stepping back, Morales composed a combination in his head and then threw it.
But he's doing exactly what he did in the fight with Barrera, which made him an exciting fighter here. He rested up and he's coming right back now with his own punches.
Here we go. Here we go. We know that Morales can go to this tempo. Can Cano go there? Hard right hand. Good round.
A little bit of water. Give him a little bit of water. Just like that, just like you moved. It's perfect. It's very good. It's good. Looks good. There's no problem.
Mira, cierra el ojo.
Close your eyes.
Cuando te ataque él, necesito que también le haga.
Some water?
Sí,
Water in your head? Okay, put some water in the head. That's why we have the towel there.
Ahí te va.
Here you see Cano land a good volley of punches when he had Morales on the ropes, and beautiful shot in a nice overhand right, following the left hook. This volley right here probably won him the round.
CompuBox numbers showed you that Cano landed 20 power punches in that round. It was a good comeback for Cano, who seemed so disconcerted by the cut in the preceding round. But his left eye is still swelling. His right eye is beginning to swell as well. He's the one who looks a little bit the worse for wear as we approach the middle point of the fight. You mentioned that Cano is trained by Rudy Perez, who was the trainer for Marco Antonio Barrera all through the amazing Barrera-Morales trilogy. But Cano is not so much like Barrera that it's the same thing. It's not exactly the same equation. Hard right hand by Morales. And he doubled up on it, trying to get to that eye and start the bleeding again. Five-punch combination by Cano. And there's a three-punch combination concluding with a right cross. Now Morales sticks his jab back into Cano's face and lands a solid left hook. Body shot for Morales with the jab. Usually aimed at setting up something upstairs, and he lands another solid left hook. Suddenly Cano is dropping his right hand and getting painted by the left hook.
Yeah, and Morales is punching with a lot of power now. I don't think he has that much respect for Cano's punching power himself. You know, he's coming in, loading up, and mainly just going for the knockout. I don't think he's trying to win a decision over this young fight. He's going for the knockout tonight.
Judges score blood
I don't
sometimes.
know that he has a choice, but it's become a good, tough, close fight. Which is what Morales does.
Low blow for Cano. Kenny Bayless was directly behind Morales and might not have seen it. Good left hook for Morales. Quick, short punches inside. He's stepping in closer and landing better.
Gotta get your second win now. Lively, lively. Come on, quickly here. Close the eyes. Close the eye. Close the eye. Put more heart in it. When you're ready, you know everything that's coming. Put more heart into it now. And remember the straight shots, and then prepare to the body.
Here's what I was saying earlier. Morales is leaning in, getting full leverage, and coming out with a lot of power on all of his shots. Here he lands a tremendous left hook, but notice how he got his body planted before he shot the punch. Because earlier he was throwing punches from too far back, and he couldn't get his range. Now he's moving in closer before he throws his power shots.
Morales retired for 2 years after losing 4 fights in a row, including the 2 KOs by Pacquiao. He told us that he went into therapy for alcoholism and to keep his family together, and that he had always planned to come back.
What was interesting when you were saying that you had saw him once, and he admitted that at that time he was weighing up to about 170 or 80 pounds.
I once saw him, Emmanuel, between fights at a restaurant, and he looked like an overstuffed turkey. I didn't even recognize him.
Harold, how do you have it through 6?
Okay, Jim, I've got it 57, 3 rounds apiece. Jim, in the last 4 rounds, I've given 3 of them to Erik Morales, everything except the 5th. Erik really stepped up the game a little bit over that first 2 rounds where, he just took a beating. And he, he's doing a nice job with that right hand. He's still not fighting at the same pace that he fought against Maidana. But even still, landed good, hard, solid right hands. There's not much effective aggressiveness in this fight. It's sort of a back and forth fight. But Morales certainly landing the nicer, harder right hands to win 3 out of the last 4 rounds.
Yeah, but now Morales is bleeding out of the left eye. And I'm not sure what has caused the cut early in this round, but Erik Morales is suddenly pinning his left glove against the right cheek because he's got to protect the right eye that has begun to bleed.
But it's interesting.
Left eye, I should say. Left eye.
Cano has not came up with a good solid defense for the continuous right hand that Morales is landing. Instead of doing a shoulder roll, some of the punches like Mayweather would do, and James Toney and those type fighters, he just takes the punch. He doesn't have a really solid defense for the right hands from Morales at all.
But Cano is coming on right now with a burst of energy because he sees Morales bleeding, and now Morales is going to step in and try to defend himself and try to stem the tide. This is a seesaw fight, which gets more interesting with each passing round.
More interested and more bloody.
Blood in a Morales fight. What else?
And incidentally, when we get to between rounds, this is going to give us an interesting spectacle because the cut man in Cano's corner is the trainer Rudy Perez. The cut man in Morales' corner is the trainer Jose Morales. So both trainers, in addition to trying to guide their fighters through the fight strategically, are going to be working the cuts. Emmanuel, I've seen you do it. Is it a distraction for the trainer to work the cuts?
Yeah, you have to really have your pattern set out and have a good routine for that. But it's very difficult sometimes to be fixing the cutting and trying to give you fight instructions.
It's hard to tell the details of the cut over Morales' left eye, but the blood is flowing, and it looks like it may be a very serious cut. And Cano is chasing now. Wants to get at him in a hurry.
And is bleeding from the nose, too, I believe.
or what? You want to win or what? You gonna let this bum come get you? You've got to throw, damn it.
And
on the inside, come on, throw. The kid has nothing. He's just throwing nothing. He's just trying to throw his elbows now. Trying to hurt you that way. Don't let him get in.
Here you see Cano land the right hand, which I believe caused the cut. If you notice, right after he lands that punch, look at the intensity in his eyes when he becomes so much more aggressive after that.
There's a little bit of, or maybe a lot of panic in Morales' corner. And Morales himself looked a little discouraged, I thought, at the end of that last round.
Power shots in the 7th round. Morales 10 of 21. Cano 15 out of 28, including the right hand, which, as you saw, opened that complex cut outside Morales' eye. It looks to me he's bleeding from 2 different spots there. This could become a war now, as both fighters show a sense of desperation. One thing we know for sure, blood won't stop Erik Morales. If ever there's been a fighter with the courage to keep coming, regardless of the damage, this is the guy.
And I was just looking at Morales' footwork. You never see him take a step back.
He is who he is.
Certainly
even
not now.
At 35.
Remember, he did what he did against Maidana this year with one eye. His right eye was closed in the first round of that fight. Closed. Much worse than what we're seeing in the left eye now.
And going into that fight, Jim.
Hard right hand by Morales.
Cano has not still come up with a defense to stop those right hands from Morales.
Another right hand
right
from
hand
Morales.
after right hand.
What a seesaw fight. They traded rounds. Then Cano won the last one. Now here comes Morales again.
Ojo, go to Tangas. Watch the head.
First 2 minutes of this round, a right hand show by Morales. Here's Cano's right hand. Not as quick.
Morales' right hand is much stiffer, much stronger, much more body weight into it. And, you know, if Cano would at least try to duck it, roll it, sidestep it, anything, he would take a lot of Morales' best weapon away from him because that's his main weapon.
What a show.
But
this has been an Erik Morales round. Right after the round in which he was cut, looked discouraged. His corner seemed to panic a little bit between the rounds. The old warrior has come out and put his indelible stamp on this. I know how to solve the problem. I'll fight.
Look at his trunks.
That's a portrait of his life. That's a portrait of his life. The kid from El Norte. They don't come any tougher.
Both guys are blooded up. I don't know. It's going to have to be some quick decisions made in the next 2 rounds in the corners.
Don't blow your nose.
Quítale el protector.
Take his mouth guard off. Take it out.
A ver.
All right. Let me see. Let me work the nose.
Está controlada la vida.
It's controlled.
Cierra el puño. Cierra el...
Close your eye.
Los ojos. Cierra el ojo.
La condición.
You've got the conditioning. Throw to his body. You did good. Good profiles. Good. You got to work more.
Here you see Morales land what I refer to as this continuous signature right hand right over the shoulders of Cano, and he has no defense for it at all.
CompuBox numbers in the 8th round. Erik Morales landed 25 punches, 25 out of 63. 13 of them were power shots. Cano, 16 out of 59. Seesaw fight goes to the 9th round. even on Harold Letterman's scorecard. And they have traded back and forth the last 4 rounds of the fight.
The idea of a good undercard is to give the fans a good night of boxing, of prize fighting, no matter what happens in the main event. And we've seen 2 pretty good fights.
Right hand by Morales. That one was a lunge. Didn't have full body power behind it. Arm punch by Cano. And those were arm punches as well. These are softballs from Cano now. He's not getting anything on these punches. And there he lands a big left as Morales walks into it.
I thought Morales landed a big left. An exchange maybe.
I'll break the tie. It was Morales.
All right.
Yeah, but they
My
both
angle was
landed.
not good.
But maybe it's because I see so much power and force in Morales' punch as compared to Cano.
Well, I think maybe they both landed, but I agree with you guys that Morales' punch had the harder force. Cano just doesn't seem to be able to get any steam on anything in this round.
No, he doesn't get any steam on him. He still gets hit with the same punch continually.
We used to call these the start of the championship rounds, but that hardly attains to this kind of a bogus championship or title fight. But it's a hell of a fight, whatever it's called. Whoever has any titles or doesn't.
Yeah. This will be an interesting round for scorers because Cano is landing more and Morales is throwing the more effective shots. Good solid body shot by Morales. Erik Morales has chosen his shots carefully and tried to make them count in the 9th round. Pablo Cano has been throwing, but softly and without much effect. Immediately following this fight, we'll be taking you to Staples Center in Los Angeles. You see the interior there, and you see the large crowd which is gathered to celebrate Canelo Alvarez, the Mexican redhead sensation who has recently become one of that country's biggest boxing stars and their hope for the future. He'll be fighting veteran Mexican-American tough guy, Alfonso Gomez. Gomez, who has stood in and had an excellent professional career, has a record of 23-4-2 to bring into the bout. Lost by knockout only once. That was to Miguel Cotto. Alvarez is going to try to show he's just as bad as Cotto. Copy box numbers through the 9th round here in Las Vegas. Very close. Morales 182 out of 503. Cano 187 out of 601. Cano throwing 100 punches more. Maybe that can make a difference for him. Harold Letterman judges according to the quality of the punches. How do you have it through 9?
Okay, Jim, 86-85, 5 rounds to 4. Erik El Terrible Morales. Jim, I think he won the last 2 rounds to forge into the lead right here. You know, Pablo Cano, just like you said, doesn't seem to have much power on his shots anymore. Badly swollen eyes. You got to wonder how much vision he actually has. Morales, on the other hand, coming forward, doing a nice job forcing Cano back and landing solid right hands. When you put a guy on his back foot, the truth of the matter is you take away a lot of his power, and Morales is doing that. He's backing him up, landing hard right hands, and you know, reducing Cano's power a lot. 5-4, Erik Morales.
And between rounds, Rudy Perez, according to our brilliant interpreter Jerry Olaya, was telling Cano, you are losing the fight. You must step it up. You have got to try to be aggressive in these last 3 rounds.
I have the same score as Harold.
And Emmanuel Stewart Harold Letterman made a very good point during that scoring summary. Erik Morales in the last round and a half has been able to pressure Cano onto his back foot, taking the steam out of his punches.
That's right. Even when they both land a punch, I'm more impressed with Morales' punch than Cano, because I don't see him landing with any effect. Instead of him moving and boxing, changing directions, taking advantage of the age and the balance of Morales, he's just standing there taking the punches. All he did was change. If he would box something and let Morales miss completely, he would lose his balance, but he doesn't do that.
And he senses that he might be able to end the fight here.
Cano's
Morales being Morales.
Cano's face a grotesque bloody mask, providing a target and a path toward victory for Erik Morales. And Morales is pursuing it with all his heart. And it's some heart.
Kenny Bayless may have stopped the fight.
He's going to take him to the doctor.
He's going to give...
Okay? Okay. Time in.
Medical supervisor allows the fight to continue. Cano landing while backing up, and there he blew the blood out of his nose. Now, Emmanuel Stewart, we heard Rudy Perez a couple of rounds ago instantly say to him when he came to the corner, don't blow your nose. There he did it. What's the effect of that?
You blow your nose, it makes your eyes swell up worse. If any swelling in the eyes would be aggravated if you blow your nose.
So the inexperienced fighter did himself no favors by blowing the nose there, and the blood is really streaming now.
I think Bayless has handled the eye cut very, very well. Bringing Cano to the doctor, saying, okay, he can go ahead. And
that's
what watching very carefully.
But Kenny Bayless's eyes are fixed on that cut. He's not looking at anything other than Pablo Cano's left eye, and he's going to follow him back to the corner here.
Give me the face. Give me your face. Give me your face. Relax.
Rudy Perez asked Kenny Bayless to stop the fight.
It's a good call. I was expecting to have some decision made in the last few rounds in the corners, because both guys were beat up so bad.
He's a 21-year-old fighter. He's got a future worth protecting. Perez made that call. Erik Morales has another victory.
And another belt.
52nd win of his career. A meaningless belt. But nevertheless, he'll get to wear it. It'll mean something to him.
Doing an interview?
An amazing show, and frankly, Emmanuel Stewart, in my view, Morales won that fight on maturity, resolve, composure.
That's correct.
He closed the show, landing 21 of 33 power shots. He saw his chance and took advantage of it in that round. The kid seemed to have the better of him early on.
You know, all he had to do, meaning Cano, was to do what he did earlier. Take a little step back whenever Morales would punch, let him get a little out balance, and then hit him with a left hook. He did that very effectively for the first few rounds, and the last second of he did it again. But other than that, he was just standing there absorbing the blows without taking a step back, without rolling or ducking it. And those consistent, hard-driving right hands took their effect.
All right, we're going to show you videotape now, Emmanuel, of the two sequences in the 10th round that ultimately led to the stoppage of the fight. Here we go.
Here you see a powerful right hand coming straight through. And as I said, not rolling it, not stepping back, not going underneath it, just absorbing it.
Brilliant the way Morales doubled up on the right hand there, doubling the damage to Cano's eye. And you can see, even as we watch in slow motion, how precipitously the blood began to flow after the double right hand. This was later in the round as Morales pressed his advantage.
Yeah, the referee could have stopped this fight, and it was very honorable for him to let it go to his corner and let his cornerman make that decision.
Let's go to Michael Buffer for the official particulars on this stoppage.
Ladies and gentlemen, here at the MGM Grand, we turn the page to another chapter in the ongoing history of a boxing legend as referee Kenny Bayless calls a halt to the bout between 10 and 11, the end of round 10, the winner by TKO victory. Now, once again a world champion, damas y caballeros de la zona norte, Tijuana, Mexico, Erik el Terrible
Final CompuBox numbers as Morales lands 13 more punches, and the margin was more or less created in the last round. Throws 91 fewer punches, but Cano's punches down the stretch didn't have any impact, and Morales ultimately jacking his connect rate up to 38%. He showed some skills, he showed determination, he was clearly diminished and seemingly not in form the way he was in April against Marcos Maidana, but he found a way to win the fight. Power punches, virtually even. They both connected at the same percentage. Cano had his moments, cut Morales badly, looked as though he might be able to end the fight, but ultimately the old warrior outlasted him and found the opportunity to vault to victory. And now he stands by with someone he knows well, our Larry Merchant.
Thank you, Jim. Erik, congratulations. It looked like you were in some difficulty early in the fight with a young fighter. Did you feel, what have I got myself into?
Antes que nada, para los boys, deuda pagada. Es un peleador joven que tiene mucho futuro, pega muy fuerte.
First of all, I want to say hello. And second of all, he's a young fighter who throws very hard, the hard punches.
Creo que tardé un poquito en acomodarme, a tener confianza de lo que podía hacer arriba.
It took me some time to mesh and to have confidence in myself and what I can do in the ring again.
When you saw the blood,
Cuando viste la sangre,
did you know you were going to get him?
que ibas a por él? Cuando tuviste la sangre suya.
La de él, sí, yo creo que lo sentí desconcertado, lo sentí que se sorprendió mucho.
I felt he was off key and I felt he was very surprised.
Y después cuando le salió mucha sangre, creo que se asustó.
And then when he started bleeding profusely, he became very scared.
You know, there are a lot of skeptics about this title. How do you feel about it?
Yo estaba listo para pelear con Lucas Matiz. No es mi problema, se lo dije, es circunstancial.
I was ready to fight Lucas Matiz, and it's not my fault, but I told you it's just the circumstances.
Thank you and congratulations again, Erik.
Muchas gracias. Arriba México!
Jim?
Viva Erik Morales. We are live from Las Vegas, but in just a few minutes we're going to turn our attention to Staples Center in Los Angeles, where still to come, rising 154-pound star Canelo Alvarez, who draws huge attention in Mexico and now in the U.S. every time he fights, faces off with the veteran Alfonso Gomez. And then our main event, Floyd Mayweather against Victor Ortiz. This past April, Ortiz defeated Andre Berto, vanquishing any demons left from his previous loss to Marcos Maidana. His dramatic win got Victor a date tonight with Floyd Mayweather. But Ortiz should be careful what he wishes for. Since the past 13 years, Mayweather has ruled the boxing world, proudly remaining undefeated along the way. But first, let's take a look at our next pay-per-view event.
We know his legend.
He's going to make it happen.
You've witnessed his rise.
Something spectacular.
This October,
Hard right hand.
witness the unbelievable. The oldest champion in boxing history, Bernard the Executioner Hopkins, faces former world champion Bad Chan Dawson for light heavyweight supremacy. Believe it or not.
The crowd is on its feet.
Hopkins versus Dawson, Saturday, October 15th, live on pay-per-view.
A look at Victor Ortiz, 24 years old and on the verge of something very big if he can realize his dream tonight. The dream to beat Floyd Mayweather and secure his spot, he says, at the top of the welterweight division, and why not? You beat Floyd Mayweather, you're atop the whole sport. Ortiz will come into the ring with a functional 14-pound weight advantage. He weighs 164 tonight, Floyd Mayweather unofficially weighed in on our scale at 150 pounds. Frankly, that could play to Mayweather's advantage as he is the slicker, quicker fighter to begin with, fights in a more defensive style, relies on his commanding ring generalship, his spectacular ring intelligence, and it may not mean a thing to Floyd Mayweather that Victor Ortiz is going to outweigh him 14 pounds. He might just say to himself, he'll be slower, that makes it easier. And now, as promised, we'll take you to Los Angeles, California for the last preliminary bout of the evening, where in Staples Center, a large crowd has assembled to worship Canelo Alvarez, or perhaps to root against him, in friendship and support for Alfonso Gomez. A look inside, and Staples Center is one of the liveliest boxing venues in the United States, Emmanuel Stewart. We never fail to be surprised at the size and enthusiasm of the crowds that greet us when we go there.
It's amazing. In fact, it's probably one of the biggest and best live gate arenas in the United States when it comes to boxing.
Absolutely right. Now, here's Alfonso Gomez. 0-1 in title fights. I mentioned his loss to Miguel Cotto, the best fighter he's been in the ring with, the only knockout loss for Alfonso Gomez. Cotto, hard-punching, grinding body puncher. At that time, his left hook was his primary weapon, and mostly to the body. Not terribly dissimilar in style from Canelo Alvarez.
Well, Alvarez is just a power fighter right now in every aspect of it. You know, as far as the boxing, the punching power, the energy, the ring generalship. Very, very good fighter.
So what will Gomez's plan be?
I mean, to be honest with you, this is the one fight, as I was saying earlier, that I just don't see as being as competitive in my mind as the other bouts. Well, I don't know. I think all he can do is try to come in and try to take Canelo into some deep rounds and try to wear him out and hope that he expends himself by throwing a lot of power punches.
Now, predictably, Gomez said, I'm more experienced. I have a vast storehouse of knowledge that he, at 21 years old, doesn't have.
Yeah, but you thought it was so important, too. That he does not have. Now the firepower that Canelo has.
Larry, your take on Gomez?
You know, through the Contender Series, good fighters who had a talent ceiling below the best. He ended the career of Arturo Gatti, took a bad beating from Cotto, and an interesting fellow who wrote this rap song mocking Canelo and his red hair. Canelo told us he thought it was a good song.
So does he have a signature win that vaulted him into this fight? Let's take a look at the one on which he would hang his hat. A year ago, and 6 months before that, 18 months ago, it was in Texas. It was against the once extremely important but now badly fated Jose Luis Castillo,
who gave Floyd Mayweather the fight or the scare of his life, a fight many people thought he won at lightweight.
That was more than 10 years ago. This was last year, and this was a bye-bye, pretty much the farewell to Castillo, who was simply trying to gather a couple more remaining paychecks before going back home to Mexicali. And Alfonso Gomez had a win over Castillo. Ended Castillo's career, ended Arturo Gatti's career. Probably isn't going to end Canelo's career because Canelo is 21. Canelo defended this title belt the first time earlier this year in Cancun, Mexico, against English veteran Ryan Rhodes. Rhodes ran him down before the fight and said, I'll take care of him. He doesn't have anywhere near my kind of experience and knowledge. After Canelo had pretty much tattooed Rhodes through the whole fight, Rhodes sang an entirely different tune afterward.
Jim, Canelo is so popular in Mexico. That fight drew 35 million viewers in a country of just over 100 million, which is comparable in the U.S. to Super Bowl numbers.
Well, indeed, we have nearly 300 million people in the United States. The record audience for the Super Bowl was 106 million in 2010. That's about 1/3. More than 1/3 of Mexicans watch Canelo against Rhodes.
And he's only 21 years old.
Suggesting that they like boxing better than we like football. Or maybe they just like redheads. The redhead has certainly made him a standout attraction in Mexico.
In terms of boxing, Los Angeles is northern Mexico.
Every time I see him, I'm looking like they should have a green and white flag. It's an Irish or something, and I look at him, and it's very hard for me to visualize him as a Mexican, but that's what makes him unique. One thing about it, he is a doggone good fighter, that's for sure.
You know, but there are a lot of skeptics who think he's an illusion, attractive young fighter. He has this problem or this flaw. I don't know. We'll see when he fights the elitist of all the elite fighters.
Look at the relaxed interaction with the crowd. Look at the big smile. That's totally at odds with the monastic, serious way that we see so many fighters come to the ring. I mean, that wasn't exactly Mike Tyson, you know what I'm saying?
You know, to me, he's like this gorgeous young actress. If she becomes Meryl Streep, fabulous. If not, just look at him now.
Canelo Alvarez is from Guadalajara. Alfonso Gomez's family is from Guadalajara. Gomez says, I'm going to upset him and take his title belt back to Guadalajara. Canelo says, nonsense. It came from Guadalajara, it goes back with me. Tale of the tape. Canelo Alvarez against Alfonso Gomez at 154 pounds. And you'll see the 9-year age difference in Alvarez's favor. 1 inch of height advantage to Gomez. Arm length advantage of a ½ inch measured from the armpit to the end of the fist for Alfonso Gomez. They both weighed in significantly under the 154-pound limit. Well, Alvarez only a ½ pound under, but Gomez a pound and a half under. And now look at the functional 9-pound weight difference in the ring as Canelo comes in at 168, reminiscent of the rehydration of Victor Ortiz here. And Gomez is a little bit more like Floyd Mayweather at 159. Let's go to ring announcer Joe Martinez for the official introductions.
Ladies and gentlemen, from Staples Center here in the sports capital of the world, Los Angeles, California. Mayweather Promotions and Oscar de la Hoya's Golden Boy Promotions, in association with Canelo Promotions, present to you the main event of the evening. Una guerra entre dos tapatíos. 12 rounds scheduled for the WBC Super Welterweight Championship of the World. Sponsored by Tecate, Cerveza con Carácter, DeWalt Power Tools, new 20-volt max lithium-ion system, AT&T, get it faster with 4G, rethink possible. Southwest Airlines, fly Southwest, it's the right call. And Cancun Tourism, Cancun, discover paradise. Sanctioned by the California State Athletic Commission, the chairman, John Frierson, executive officer, George Dobb. Physicians at ringside, Dr. Leandro Gatus and Dr. Blair Cranston. Your timekeepers in charge of the bell and counting for knockdowns, Willie Arriola and John Lecting. WBC supervisor in attendance, Mike George. Your 3 judges scoring this bout on the 10-point must system at ringside. From California, Max DeLuca. From California, Ray Corona. And from Mexico, Alejandro Rochin. When the bell rings, your referee in charge of the action, from California, Wayne Hedgeman. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the judges are ready and the fighters are ready. Los peleadores están listos. Ciudad de Los Ángeles, dile al mundo, make some noise if you are ready. Introducing to you first, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing white trunks trim in the flag of Mexico, green, white, and red. Official weight 152 and 1/2 pounds. As a professional, his record is outstanding. 23 victories, 4 defeats with 2 draws and 12 wins coming by way of knockout. De Guadalajara, Jalisco, Mexico, el retador, the challenger, Alfonso Gomez. And next, his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the red corner. Wearing gold trunks with red and green trim, he weighed in 153.5 pounds. As a young professional, he enters the ring perfect. 37 victories, no defeats, 1 draw, 27 wins by way of knockout. De Guadalajara, Jalisco, Mexico, the reigning, defending, undefeated WBC Super Welterweight Champion of the World, Saul Canelo Alvarez.
Good evening, gentlemen. This is for the WBC Championship. You're good here. You got your instructions in the dressing room. Obey my commands at all times. Above all, protect yourself. Touch them up and come out the bell.
In his rap song about this fight, Gomez wrote that Alvarez will have the taste of defeat. You're gonna taste it. No doubt Alvarez has a different idea or a different taste.
They have pretty similar styles. If there's a difference, it's the amount of focus on the body from Canelo Alvarez. He's a devoted body puncher. And unlike some fighters, Emmanuel, he will throw in combination to the body. He doesn't just throw a body shot at a time. Sometimes he'll put together 3- and 4-punch body shot combinations. That's work.
I think he's a very good all-around boxer. I mean, I looked at his boxing techniques, his jab, his ability to control the distance, placement of his punches. Sometimes I think he holds his hands a little too wide where you can catch it between the gloves. But other than that, he's a pretty much very good balanced out fighter.
And when you look at that body, I think they've made a very intelligent decision as a group to keep him now at 154 pounds. There used to be talk of trying to win a welterweight championship. This kid is not a welterweight. He's a junior welterweight, headed someday toward being a middleweight. They're chanting Canelo, Canelo. Incidentally, the word means cinnamon, an obvious reference to that thatch of hair.
Gomez looks like he has a real plan. We'll see whether it works.
Well, I like the fact that Canelo fights often. That's always been one of the, I thought that it was very important to have a fighter, especially a young fighter. How did he get, what was it, about 40-some fights already? I mean, he's been fighting often. And evidently wasn't big purses. And also, I like the fact that he boxes. I mean, even though he's a good puncher, he still uses a jab. He controls the distance. And he does a variety of things. He'll step back on a punch, he'll block it, and next time he'll roll underneath the punch.
But one of the flaws some people see in him is that he really doesn't use the jab to set up much. He's trying to here. That's good.
Emmanuel, the answer is 38 fights already. 37-0-1 at age 21.
Well, but with a very short amateur career.
Well, he had his professional career, amateur career doing his professional career, which is very common of a lot of the Mexican fighters.
Not at all unusual for Mexican fighters to turn professional in their mid-teens. Remember, Marco Antonio Barrera turned professional at 16.
Julio Cesar Chavez.
Plenty of them.
Plenty of them.
Now Canelo starts to get the jab going. And down goes Alfonso Gomez on a left hook.
Short.
Quick, short left hook. Great punch.
So much of the plans of mice and men.
He set it up with body shots, and then he brought the hammer.
Use your jab, use your jab. When you step back, jab. Don't worry about it. In and out, in and out. Work that jab. Relax. Relax, nothing happened, nothing. Keep using your jab and relax. Just use your jabs in and out, in and out. And your right sharp and bend your head out in and out.
Here you see a very accurate punch coming from Canelo. Just accuracy and balance. And his ability to predict where his opponent's head will be when he's throwing a punch.
Exactly. Gomez walked right into that punch.
Gomez didn't do anything wrong.
It almost looked more like a jab than a hook to me.
It was more of a jab to me. But he has such great balance and such accuracy.
What does it do to you when you get knocked down by a jab?
It's very disgusting.
Miguel Cotto did
and
that.
Embarrassing.
Miguel Cotto did that to Joshua Clottey at the end of round 1 in Madison Square Garden, and it turned out to be the difference in a very close fight.
And Sugar Ray Leonard famously knocked down Benitez to win his championship with a jab. Don't see it very often.
Round 2, and I think, Larry, you were correct in saying that Gomez brought in a plan, but now he's down 2 points. And you heard his father in his corner saying, be patient, stick with it, nothing happened. That sounded to me like don't abandon the plan.
The biggest weakness I see in Canelo, which is in quite a few fighters, he keeps his right hand too far to his right, and whenever he punches, well, any punch with his left hand, he draws his right hand to the side of his face, which means it's very easy to hit him through the center with a punch.
That's what happened to Roy Jones the night that Antonio Tarver knocked him under the ropes with a straight left-hand shot. His right hand was by the side of his face.
Actually, the punch that Tarver knocked, he started off with a looping left hand, and Roy put his hand to block it in some kind of way. Antonio lost his balance, and then the punch was sort of going around the top. It went through the center.
Perfect.
Yeah, but again, Gomez seems to be winning the first half of the round.
Good body shot by Gomez there. Two more good body shots for Gomez. He's been landing his jab in the early going.
He has a more active jab than does Alvarez.
There's one of those combinations I mentioned for Canelo Alvarez, often featuring more than one punch to the body. Again.
No pushing, no pushing, no pushing.
I see, Alvarez is going to the body, but if you look at the location of the cup on Gomez, it's going to be very difficult for Alvarez to hit him and do anything effective to his body. He's got one of those cups extremely high. So if you do hit him with a good body punch, it's going to end up going right on the top of the cup.
You think that was deliberate because Alvarez is such a good body
is known to be a good body puncher.
Is it legal? I guess it is.
Well, nobody's complained about it, but it's definitely a situation that should have been pointed out to the referee.
10 seconds, gentlemen.
October 22, it's the premiere of the 4-part series, 24/7 Pacquiao Marquez. Follow both men behind the scenes as they prepare for the third fight in their epic series. Following 24/7 that night, live boxing with the next Filipino sensation, Nonito Donaire, taking on Omar Narvaez. And don't forget, the HBO pay-per-view matchup between Manny Pacquiao and Juan Manuel Marquez, live on November 12th.
Fake him straight shots. And if he comes in, just give your guard up. Don't be overconfident. Straight shots, and short.
Well, you hear the emphasis on straight shots there, and I'm not surprised, Emmanuel, toward the end of round 2, I felt Canelo Alvarez's punches were wandering to the outside.
They're all to the outside, and both fighters are very difficult to land punches on the outside the way they hold their guards. Whoever would punch a shot through the center, particularly up through the center, would be very effective in this fight. But so far, all of Alvarez's punches have been all to the outsides.
Harold Letterman gave the second round to Alfonso Gomez, which would have made it an even fight were it not for the knockdown at the end of round one.
Yeah, it was almost a freak knockdown, a legitimate, real one. But for that, Gomez would be up by 2 rounds, perhaps.
Watching Canelo Alvarez's punches in round 2 wandering wide, thinking of the grinning and the smiling and the slapping hands with fans as he came into the ring, I wonder if he has a cold focus tonight. Now he starts to behave more aggressively. Alfonso Gomez was quick to point out in our discussion with him yesterday that Saul Alvarez went down in the first round on a left hook from an undersized fighter, Jose Cotto, a natural 140-pounder who was fighting Alvarez at 147. And a lot of people are going to point to that as a question mark as they get ready to fight Alvarez, because they'll try to build confidence off the fact that an undersized Jose Cotto, not Miguel Cotto, knocked Alvarez down.
Like getting knocked down in prize fighting, if you fought 35, 40 times, is unusual in prize fights.
In other words, if you hadn't been knocked down by that time, yeah.
I mean, Oscar De La Hoya was knocked down twice in his first 7 or 8 fights.
And Canelo, I take to be a relatively high-contact fighter. This is a guy whose fights are going to be rough.
Yes, but right now he's got a lot of good defensive skills, but I'm surprised that Gomez at this stage, I'll be honest, he's fighting a much better fight than I expected. And the fact, as you said, Larry, you gave the last round to him and take the knockdown away from the first round, he might be up 2 rounds.
Well, Harold Letterman gave him the last round as well. And I think right now, Alvarez is a little bit bewildered by the timing and the activity of Alfonso Gomez.
And he hasn't found a way to effectively get to Gomez.
Good right hand by Gomez.
One thing, his volume of punches is too low, meaning Alvarez.
Well, clearly he has done his homework.
Meaning Gomez.
Yes.
Yes, he has.
As well as his gym work.
Alvarez curiously inactive much of round 3, and Alfonso Gomez putting on a show in the last 30 seconds of that round. So it's an uncertain start for Canelo Alvarez in Los Angeles. Meanwhile, here in Las Vegas, we are calling the fight in Staples Center live from our perch here at the MGM Grand. Joe Cortez, referee for the main event, just gave instructions in Floyd Mayweather's dressing room.
Got to be careful, because when you're fighting a southpaw, if you well know, heads are going to be closer. Yeah. Be careful with the headbutts, all right?
Okay.
If there's accident at the headbutt, we go to the scorecard. After 4 completed rounds, it has to be stopped.
Okay.
Okay? Don't hit your opponent while he's down, because if you hit him while he's down, it's going to cost you points, or you may be disqualified if you can't continue.
Okay.
Please don't hit your opponent while he's down.
Okay.
There's no saving by the bell in any round, including the last round. Chief Secretary, you have any questions?
No.
Roy, you have any questions?
Okay.
Okay, it's a good clean fight. I want to keep the elbows nice.
Okay.
And I'm just going by what the other side protesting about. I want to make sure we have a good clean fight.
Okay, no
I'm
problem.
fair, but I'm firm. You know that. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, man. All right, thanks.
Round 4 begins in Staples Center, and you saw the byplay between Cortez and Mayweather. Based on the responses of Floyd Mayweather when he was around Joe Cortez, we surmise that he likes Cortez as a referee and is surely pleased with his assignment. Harold, how do you have it so far?
Jim, I've got it 2 rounds to 1, Alfonso Gomez, but in the all-important points category, 28 to 28, so it's all even. Well, I thought Canelo Alvarez did enough to win round 1. Gomez wasn't all that busy. He might have won it if he didn't get knocked down, but he did get knocked down, so Canelo gets a 10-8 round. Rounds 2 and 3, Canelo Alvarez just wasn't Canelo Alvarez. He couldn't get off. Gomez took it to him. Clearly won rounds 2 and 3 by staying low. Now look how low he stays and landing really well to the body. Larry, to answer your question about the cup, the inspector in the dressing room is supposed to make sure that the fighter's cup, the top of the cup, is even with the belly button. Anyway, 2 rounds to 1 Gomez, but even in points.
Inspector didn't do his job.
Correct.
Alvarez is mixing in uppercuts in this round. looks as though he's decided that he can get up the middle by coming up and under against Gomez.
And I think that's what he's going to have to do. Gomez has his legs so far apart that it's going to be very hard for him to sustain a good combination of punches. But on the other side, Alvarez is waiting. He's rolling his shoulders, doing all of the things, but not punching enough. He needs to return punches, particularly through the center. Upwards.
Gomez, the more active fighter. Gomez throwing more punches. Gomez landing at a reasonable enough rate. Alvarez clearly believes he's the stronger fighter as he stands against the ropes and invites Gomez in.
And Gomez seems to think, I can handle the power. I can take some chances.
Well, a primary feature of a normal Canelo plan would be to get in enough body shots to wear Alfonso Gomez down. But at this rate of throwing punches, it's less likely he can get that done.
Well, Gomez is still not a puncher, so I mean, I think he feels very comfortable in there. Even though Gomez may run around the two, I don't think that Alvarez feels that he's in any danger at all in this fight.
I'm sure he's not worried at all about Gomez's punching power. The question is, why isn't Alvarez throwing more? Now he begins to let his hands go a little bit.
If he doesn't think
there's a good uppercut.
He's at least in some danger, then he doesn't know what's going on. And he has a sense of urgency right now that shows that.
He's throwing with abandon when he lets that uppercut go particularly. But some of these are wide shots, winging punches, and Gomez is still more effectively coming up the middle.
Yeah, and he has not found a way to put together combinations on Gomez.
And another look at the strip here in Las Vegas. We were here one round to go for Cortez's instructions to Floyd Mayweather. Now let's hear what he said to Victor Ortiz.
And I'll do my job, and I expect for you to do yours.
Yes, sir.
All right, my man?
Yes, sir. I got a question, Joe.
Yes, sir.
I got a question. I know that you're a tremendous referee with a lot of experience, and we know that we all know, the whole world know that Floyd Mayweather uses his elbow a lot. I just want to know if we can do anything.
I will watch that. If I see him coming in with the elbow, that's a foul. Okay? If he's blocking, it's not a foul. But if he comes in with the elbow,
sometimes I saw a lot of tapes, and sometimes he goes like this and keep it like this. He keeps it.
I already told him a little bit about that already. I will watch out for that.
Excellent.
But it sounded to me as though Cortez had already told Danny Garcia that holding the elbow up in a defensive position is okay. Let's go back to Los Angeles, round 5 between Canelo Alvarez and Alfonso Gomez. The crowd virtually all for Alvarez, or so it seems, but he hasn't gotten off to the start in the fight they might have hoped for. And you can see that despite the fact that Canelo Alvarez ended the first round by knocking Gomez down, Harold Letterman sees Gomez having won the 3 ensuing rounds and taking the lead in the fight. And I'm not sure, since we've begun following Canelo Alvarez, that we've ever seen him lose 3 rounds in a row on any scorecard.
Well, he's not busy for one thing, and when he does punch, he's only throwing one punch at a time. And even when he shoots the uppercut, he very seldom does he throw 3 or 4 punches. He's just throwing one power shot, looking for a knockout, and he's totally abandoned his jab.
Meanwhile, Gomez has put together the best and most comprehensive plan I've ever seen from him. And for the moment, he's doing to Alvarez some of what he did to Arturo Gatti at the end of Gatti's career.
He's landed some clean right hands.
Trying to lift Canelo back into the forefront of the fight. Gomez still putting together a pretty interesting variety of punches.
Both fighters are from Guadalajara originally. Gomez came to the U.S. when he was a child. He's now a citizen. And he fights more like an American fighter in a way.
Yes, well, he's really virtually
Which he is.
Crazy, he is.
Now a little more activity from Alvarez and a pretty good right hand at the end of that combination. Alvarez has been very sporadic with his jab, Emmanuel.
That's what I was just getting ready to say, Jim. That was the first time I saw a jab in about 3 rounds. If he would jab more, would set up things better. But he's just waiting on rolling punches and waiting on one big knockout punch. In the meantime, he's having a tough fight with Gomez. Gomez may be winning this fight.
Now Alvarez begins to put combinations together again. That was a solid shot. He's getting the crowd back into the fight. And Gomez's punches lose their snap as he's on his back foot for the moment. Alvarez pushing forward.
10 seconds. Top of the bell.
Reminiscent of round 1 as Canelo simply stood still and Gomez walked into a left hand to end the round.
That could be a hard round to score because Alvarez landed more hard punches.
How are you feeling? Good, very good. A little ice now. Some water? No. A little bit more Vaseline. Be careful with those counter punches because you're going a little bit crazy and he can catch you. And keep your hands up and bring your hands back up and more speed now. You got to throw more punches. When you use your jab, you're catching him. Throw the jab, throw the jab, throw the jab. Jab, back, jab, jab, jab. Jab and push him. Push him in with the gloves up.
Down, 6th round. We're in the 6th.
Halfway through the last round, it seemed to me that Alfonso Gomez was rolling toward winning a 4th consecutive round against Canelo Alvarez. But then Alvarez, in the second half of that last round, seemed to begin righting the ship with more authoritative punching, and he won the round on Harold Letterman's card to even up the fight. You're watching live action in Staples Center in Los Angeles as Canelo Alvarez takes on Alfonso Gomez. Alvarez in the gold trunks, Gomez in the white. This is the last preliminary bout before our main event of this pay-per-view telecast between Floyd Mayweather and Victor Ortiz here in Las Vegas, the place from which we're calling the fight on a television monitor. Gomez has got his jab working again. And that half-inch arm length advantage showing up a little bit as he lands his jab. Alvarez falls short with his twice in a row. Another short jab for Alvarez, but now he connects.
Gomez fighting a gutsy, smart fight.
Yes, he is, and I'm very surprised the fact that he is really, for the most part, setting the tempo of the fight. Even though he doesn't have the coordination, out of speed, out of power of Alvarez, but he's still setting the pace of the fight and the busier of the two fighters.
Good right hand by Canelo, up and under, and then a big right cross across the top. Gomez is badly hurt. Canelo's got a chance to finish, and the referee's going to stop it right away. Too quick.
Too quick.
Gomez was not out of there yet. Canelo may have been headed toward the stoppage, but that was too quick.
Agreed. Canelo is the hometown guy, even if he's not from that hometown. Sometimes, guys, I think that in boxing, the hometown edge is a pillar of the game. Promoters want it, fans want it, we get it.
Emmanuel Gomez was stunned, but not that badly hurt yet.
I thought it was definitely a quick stoppage myself. I mean, I could go on and on, but I think you said it already, Larry. It was a quick stoppage, but it's like this is what the crowd wanted, but I don't think so.
All right, watch the uppercut land here. That starts the damage. Then the right cross, boom. Gomez is hurt, and you can see it. And now Canelo has a chance, but he hasn't quite finished him yet, in our view, at the moment when the referee steps in here.
Look, he was hurt, but he deserves, given what's happened in this fight, a chance to show whether he had a few seconds left in him. That's all we're really saying.
He was flat out even on Harold Letterman's scorecard coming to this round. He won 3 rounds in a row on the Letterman scorecard, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. But the referee felt as though he wasn't going to be able to weather this particular storm. Alvarez did land some shots.
But he didn't land nothing too much clean, that devastating, after that
Gomez
first 2 or 3 punches. Yeah, he was recovering.
No, I thought they were clean punches to the body and the head on the ropes. And Gomez was hurt. And Canelo earned this. If it went on, you have to believe he would have.
I believe he would have, but I thought it was a quick stoppage still.
Yeah. And the blue.
I don't question that he was going to win the fight. And I think the superiority was demonstrated there in that exchange. But at the end of the day, in my view, he hadn't finished him yet.
And you see what caused all of the trouble was the right uppercut.
The uppercut changed the fight.
The punch, anything up between the center would have been effective.
When he started,
actually against either one of them.
Well, he adjusted, and that's what makes him an amazing young fighter. That he really has a sense of what's going on. He can adjust. He can become defensive. But there's a part of him that we just saw that is what makes him who he is.
Let's go to Joe Martinez, the ring announcer in LA, for the particulars on the knockout.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the City of Angels, Los Angeles, California, 2 minutes, 36 seconds, round number 6. Referee Wayne Hedgebeth calls a halt to the bout for your winner by KO victory and still the undefeated WBC Super Welterweight Champion of the World, Saul Canelo Alvarez.
So Alvarez remains unbeaten and runs his record to 38 wins, no losses, and a draw. Ultimately winds up with a 17-punch connected punch edge in landed punches. He threw 59 fewer punches than Gomez, who was controlling the flow of the action through much of the fight. But the higher connect percentage by Alvarez, once he started throwing the uppercut in round 5, to the opening through the middle, that changed the fight. And Canelo wound up with a 32-punch edge in landed power shots, much of it built over the course of the last round and a half. And now Mario Solis stands by with the winner in the ring in LA.
All right, thank you, Jim. We are in the ring here with the winner, Canelo Alvarez. Canelo, our first question, you came in smiling in the ring. You were slow to start this fight. Was there a lack of focus to begin this bout? Cuando entraste al ring estabas posiblemente sonriendo demasiado. Iniciaste lentamente esta pelea. ¿Faltó un poco de enfoque al principio?
No, la verdad que estaba muy confiado. Sonrío por toda la gente, ¿no?
He was confident and smiling because of the public that is here.
Al ver a la gente, todo eso me motiva y por eso.
And seeing so many people here motivated him.
Me sacan muchas sonrisas. Gracias a toda la gente por estar aquí. Estoy muy agradecido con todos.
And appreciation to the fans here tonight. Why did you lose so many early rounds? Was there something that you were waiting for? Was that part of the plan? ¿Por qué perdiste, en la opinión nuestra, algunos de los rounds iniciales? Comenzaste fuerte y perdiste 2 o 3 consecutivos después del primero.
No, la verdad que no sé qué vieron. Estaba haciendo mi trabajo. Creo que estaba haciendo mi trabajo muy bien.
He feels he was doing his job well to begin.
Lo tiré en el primer round, entonces
dropped him in the first round.
Haciendo nuestro trabajo. Sabíamos que era cuestión de tiempo.
Simply doing his job and thinking that it was only a matter of time.
Sabemos de la calidad de Gómez y por eso estábamos enfocados muy bien.
He's aware that the opponent was obviously well prepared and he was taking his time. Tell us about the final moments of this fight. Did you know it was coming, and did you think that maybe it was too premature of a stop? Platícanos cómo terminó esta pelea y si piensas que la decisión del juez referee fue un poco prematura.
No sé, la verdad, el trabajo del referee. Yo hice mi trabajo. Él hizo
it's not his job to judge the referee.
Si hizo bien su trabajo mal. Yo simplemente creo que hice mi trabajo.
He's simply here to do his own job, and he believes that people really like this fight. We also have, obviously, with us tonight, an acknowledging Alfonso Gomez. Alfonso, did you feel that you had done your homework here? Did you feel that maybe you were edging and getting closer to what you wanted to do and getting closer to a very surprising victory tonight?
Yeah, he's a good counter puncher. And I felt like I was still able to continue. The referee looked for a reason to stop it and he found it. I was going to be able to continue, but you know, he's a great fighter. He hits pretty hard. And you know, I think the fight was pretty even to that point.
Well, I got to ask you too, did you feel that the judge, the referee, was maybe a little too quick, too premature in stopping the fight?
Well, since you're mentioning it, it's because it's the truth. He was a little too premature, but you know, it is what it is. I knew this sort of thing was going to happen. Even if it went to distance, you know, it was probably going to give it to him. And now we're looking for a reason to stop it, and he did. You know, I was able to continue. He told me where I was. He asked me questions, answered him perfectly, but whatever, you know, it is what it is.
Gentlemen, a very good fight. Thank you. Thank you, Canelo. Well, there you have it. Canelo is still a work in progress as he continues his ascent in the boxing world. We are done here in Los Angeles. Let us now go back to Jim Lampley in Las Vegas for the main event.
All right, thank you very much, Mario Solis. We bring you back live to Las Vegas, where the main event is up next. Floyd Mayweather against Victor Ortiz. The 24-year-old Ortiz may own a welterweight title belt, but Mayweather is the heavy favorite here tonight. Are the odds warranted? We'll find out about 15 minutes from now. But first, let's take a look at our next pay-per-view event.
We know his legend.
He's going to make it happen.
You've witnessed his rise.
Something spectacular.
This October,
hard right hand.
Witness the unbelievable. The oldest champion in boxing history, Bernard the Executioner Hopkins, faces former world champion Bad Chan Dawson for light heavyweight supremacy. Believe it or not.
The crowd is on its feet.
Hopkins versus Dawson, Saturday, October 15th, live on pay-per-view.
So we've had a very good undercard. We've had a terrific build-up to a big championship fight. Love him or hate him, Floyd Mayweather has been missed again during his long layoff, and his return brings electricity back to boxing. And how much more electric can you be than young Victor Ortiz, who burst on the scene with his spectacular performance against Andre Berto earlier this year and brings to the story one of the great personality stories of recent years. Now we're ready with the final tantalizing piece of information that the youngest, strongest, most vibrant opponent Floyd Mayweather has fought in 10 years will enter the ring tonight with a 14-pound functional weight advantage over Floyd. Ortiz weighs 164 tonight, having come up 17 pounds since the weigh-in yesterday. Floyd Mayweather weighs 150. So the drama of the anticipation is done. Let's get ready for the fight.
It's a soundtrack unique to the sport. The hum of fine-tuning the body. The repetitive rhythm of preparation. And the reverberations of confidence.
You know my name!
Composed by two men, each with his own supporting ensemble. It's a tune they've been diligently rehearsing in anticipation of a single note. After a 16-month absence, the undefeated Floyd Mayweather returns to the stage he has long dominated.
Floyd Mayweather has a knockout victory. Excellent left hook. Brilliant combination by Mayweather.
What motivates me is just putting the finishing touches on my legacy as far as being the best to ever put on a pair of gloves.
That's a stunning shot from Mayweather right on the button. Floyd Mayweather's application to the sport is at this moment unique, and he stands alone. Tonight, though, the challenger is 24-year-old Victor Ortiz, the youngest, strongest adversary Mayweather's faced in the last 6 years.
I'm going to give him his first loss. I'm younger, stronger, bigger, and I'm not stopping anytime soon.
This past April, Ortiz's drive and self-belief were exhibited against Andre Berto. Straight left hand by Ortiz. Ortiz dominated early, but then tasted the canvas twice. Down goes Ortiz, yet in a remarkable display of resilience. Oh, my God! Unbelievable! What a fight! Ortiz earned a thrilling victory. Looks like there's a new welterweight in town, and his name is Victor Ortiz. Now these two men step into the ring, each hoping for a masterful performance. One man looking to elevate his legacy to new heights. Another looking for the watershed victory of his career. Mayweather Ortiz is next. Mayweather Ortiz is being brought to you by MGM Grand, the city of entertainment in Las Vegas. Cerveza Tecate con carácter. DeWalt, new 20-volt max lithium-ion system. AT&T, get it faster with 4G. Rethink possible. Fly Southwest Airlines, it's the right call. And by HBO Pay-Per-View, the best in pay-per-view entertainment, brought to you by HBO. The presence of Floyd Mayweather in the ring guarantees a substantial celebrity turnout. There's a look at Christina Aguilera. Urban Magic Johnson, one of the biggest boxing fans in the world, here again. Anna Paquin and Stephen Moyer, let's hope they were here for Morales Cano and all its true blood. Mike Tyson on the scene, another of the world's biggest boxing fans. P. Diddy, here in all seriousness behind the shades. And he was Mickey Ward, the fighter on the big screen, but here he's Mark Wahlberg, executive producer of Entourage. Let's go to Michael Buffer in the ring to continue the pageantry.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we would like everyone to rise for two national anthems. First, we honor the heritage of tonight's world champion, and we honor all the fans here for Mexican Independence Day weekend, here to sing the Mexican national anthem. Please welcome, from Los Mochis, Sinaloa, Mexico, recording star Mariana Estrada.
Mexicanos a grito de guerra, el acero a prestar y el bridón, y retiembla en sus centros la tierra al sonoro rugir del cañón, y retiembla en sus centros la tierra al sonoro rugir del cañón. Ciño patria, tus sienes de oliva, de la paz el arcángel divino, que en el cielo tu eterno destino por el dedo de Dios escribió. Mas si osara un extraño enemigo profanar con su planta tu suelo, pienso, patria querida, que el cielo un soldado en cada hijo te dio, un soldado en cada hijo te dio. Mexicanos a gritos acero aprestar y hebridón, y retiembla en sus centros la tierra al sonoro rugir del cañón, y retiembla en sus centros la tierra al sonoro rugir del cañón. ¡Viva México!
Now, ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing. Just 6 days ago, we paid tribute to 9/11, the 10th anniversary. At this time, we would like to dedicate the national anthem to all the men and women, the victims and the heroes that we lost on that fateful day, and to all the men and women serving in the armed forces for the United States of America. Ladies and gentlemen, here to sing the national anthem of the United States, please welcome Jasmine Villegas.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleam, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Tail of the tape for Floyd Mayweather and Victor Ortiz. Everybody knows already Ortiz is 10 years younger than Mayweather, has a 1-inch difference in height in his favor, but the unusual stat here is arm length. Look at Mayweather, 2.5-inch difference in arm length measured from the armpit to the end of the fist, underlining the point that Victor Ortiz must get inside in this fight. Weight, 146.5 and 147 on the scale yesterday, but there's the big number going into the fight. Mayweather hydrated up to 150. Victor Ortiz put on 17 pounds overnight and will go into the ring outweighing Mayweather unofficially, according to our scale, by 14 pounds. And here's a statistical look at the withering task which faces Victor Ortiz. Among the top fighters in the sport, Floyd Mayweather's plus-minus is more than twice as good as anybody else's. He lands 46% of his punches. He limits opponents to 16%, which is beyond extraordinary. It's otherworldly.
And it's gone up, Jim, since he moved to a higher weight class because he's not fighting as many quicker, smaller fighters.
Here comes Ortiz. A lot of people wrote him off after he came a cropper against Marcos Maidana in a physical war in Staples Center a couple of years ago. 27 months have passed, and Ortiz has come all the way back, and you saw the statistic. He has knocked 12 of his last 13 opponents down. This despite the fact that he says, Emmanuel, he doesn't even regard himself as a particularly big puncher.
He's a very short, fast power puncher, and he has pretty good balance when he punches too. So it's very difficult when you get in exchanges with him because he can punch with either hand. His right hand particularly, even though he's a southpaw boxing-wise, he really is a right-hander, and that's why his right hook is his most powerful punch.
Coming to the ring, the defending world champion and vicious Victor
Emmanuel Stewart, if you were Danny Garcia training Victor Ortiz for tonight, and you were told that your fighter outweighed the opponent by 14 pounds going into the ring, would you feel great about that, or would you be worried that there's even more danger he's going to get outquicked?
I would feel good about it, because a lot of my fighters that I trained, they did come in the ring 15 to 20 pounds over. But I would feel good about it because he's a young fighter, and I think that's part of what is going to be his biggest advantage is strength and aggressiveness. So I would feel the weight would help him. I don't think it's going to slow him down speed-wise.
It's highly unusual for the title holder to walk in first. But that just shows that this is Floyd Mayweather's show and that he wants to dictate everything so that he sends the message that I can't lose here. I'm in control, outside and inside the ring.
Well, clearly, this title belt was important to Ortiz. It became a key bargaining chip for him in getting him the chance at this fight. But Mayweather doesn't need title belts to establish his identity, and he says, why should I pay fees to governing bodies for prominence that doesn't mean anything to me?
Referring to what you were just saying, Jim, these belts and organizations, it's just a business deal. And if a fighter gets big enough he doesn't need them, he doesn't need them.
See Floyd Mayweather, to a certain degree, see Manny Pacquiao. And you saw moments ago Ortiz promoter Oscar De La Hoya behind him. There was a few years ago a point when a lot of people thought, oh, Golden Boy is trying to make Ortiz into another De La Hoya. But it's an entirely different story. And now here comes the other story. And a new robe for Floyd Mayweather. Only his second fight since December of 2008. Emmanuel, he's been brilliant at dealing with all this inactivity. Does logic say it's going to catch up to him at some point?
It is going to catch up with him at some point. Inactivity is a big, big factor. And when you're in any sport, you lose your muscle memory, so to say. But tonight, I don't know if that's going to be the night. But I think he's going to be in for a total big shock tonight.
A little late pad work with his uncle Roger Mayweather. Obviously, he's in no hurry to get out of the dressing room. And Larry, we've seen this kind of thing before in a lot of big fights.
He thinks it's important. Does anybody else think it's important when the bell rings? It's, again, control.
So here he comes with very good friend 50 Cent over the right shoulder, and that cadre of bodyguards over the left shoulder. His town, his world, his sport. That's the way he sees it.
One little factor, perhaps, in the heavy odds in favor of Mayweather is that if he picked Ortiz to fight, then the general perception is he knows he can win because he's been accused of being a very prudent matchmaker for himself in the past, and he sure made it work.
He outclassed Juan Manuel Marquez, who was clearly fighting at a weight beyond where he could be effective. He totally dominated Ricky Hatton, even outfighting Hatton inside, which was supposed to be Hatton's strength in the fight. And in his last fight, he took two big shots from Shane Mosley in the second round, and then simply turned out Mosley's lights. Shane practically did nothing for the rest of the fight.
Well, tonight, I think he's going to be a little bit more physical than he's been in a lot of, even though he weighs in less. I think he's going to try to move in, place hard punches, and actually out-power punch. which is hard for me to visualize to something, but I think he's going to try to out-power punch Ortiz.
Sometimes prize fighters seem so perfect, you wonder what's wrong with them.
Yeah. Well,
and then it's a question of whether the other guy can expose anything.
Well, a lot of fighters historically, as they get older, they don't move as much and they become a little bit more physical and they take more risks.
Well, there are all sorts of indicators of Floyd's dominance, but clearly a lot of Ortiz's hope here tonight springs from the memory of those two punches that Mosley landed in the second round. And I've asked you before, Emmanuel, was that a mistake brought on by inactivity? Obviously, we don't know for sure, but it could have been.
Well, I think he was just relaxed and he got caught. It happens, you know. It's like a guy, a good pitcher, someone hits a home run on him. But if you remember, at the end of that round, Floyd was dominating. And the next round, he came out and he took control. It was just one of those things that happened.
The third round was one of the most one-sided rounds of his career. It was a big statement. Now, for another statement, let's go to Michael Buffer. Official introductions.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the MGM Grand of Las Vegas, Nevada, USA, Mayweather Promotions and Golden Boy Promotions are proud to present the main event of the evening. 12 rounds of boxing for the WBC Welterweight Championship of the World. Sponsored by Cesar con Carácter Tecate, DeWalt Power Tools, new 20-volt max lithium ion system, AT&T. Get it faster with AT&T, rethink possible. Southwest Airlines, fly Southwest, it's the right call. And Cancun Tourism, discover paradise. This bout is sanctioned by the Nevada State Athletic Commission Chairman Bill Brady, Executive Director Keith Kaiser, and the World Boxing Council President and Supervisor for this contest tonight, Jose Suleiman. At ringside, the 3 judges scoring the bout on the 10-point system, Adelaide Bird, Jerry Roth, and Glenn Trowbridge. And inside the ring, in charge of the action, Hall of Fame announcer, Joe Fair but Firm Cortez. And now, ladies and gentlemen, let's meet the stars of Star Power. Fighting out of the red corner, wearing black with orange, official weight, 146 1/2 pounds. A perfect professional record, 41 fights, 41 victories, including 25 knockouts, and he has captured 6 world titles in 5 divisions. From Grand Rapids, Michigan, the former junior lightweight world champion, former lightweight world champion, former super lightweight world champion, former 2-time welterweight world champion, and former super welterweight champion of the world, the undefeated Floyd Money Mayweather. And fighting out of the blue corner, wearing silver with red, officially weighing in also at 147 pounds, a professional record consisting of 29 victories, including 22 knockouts with 2 defeats and 2 bouts even. His KO to victory ratio is among the highest in boxing history among welterweight champions. From Ventura, California, the reigning, defending WBC welterweight champion of the world, Vicious Victor Ortiz.
All right, gentlemen, we went over the rules in the dressing room. I expect a good, clean fight. Obey my commands at all time. Watch out for their heads inside. Give me good sportsmanlike conduct. Remember, guys, I'm fair but I'm firm. Touch them up.
Ladies and gentlemen, the officials are ready. The fighters are ready from the MGM Grand of Las Vegas. Let's get ready to rumble!
Sometimes youth can outrun its mistakes or flaws. Can Ortiz do it? Will Mayweather be as exciting in the ring tonight as he always has been outside the ring?
Round one, and the difference in their body styles immediately apparent. Mayweather looking like a classic boxer. Victor Ortiz, an aircraft carrier. Look at that back. Mayweather landing body shots. Early flurries seem to show his hands are quicker.
And that he thinks that he can really touch Ortiz from close quarters.
Well, two of Floyd's favorite punches and most effective is a little short right hand lead that he does very effective when he shoots it almost at the same speed of a jab.
There's the first right hook from Ortiz.
And that's exactly what he's trying to focus on, is a little right hand lead. Odd to roll and counter and try to come back with a short right hand if Ortiz comes in and leaves himself open. But the right hand of Floyd is going to be a big, big factor in this fight as far as his weapons.
And he's tremendously accurate with that right hand lead. He's landed 3 or 4 of them on the button right now. And if he times them right, he can take away the rhythm of Ortiz's offensive attack. Ortiz gets to the body, though, with a couple of shots in the corner. And Mayweather grins at him, which suggests to us that Ortiz made an impact on the ribcage.
Well, right now, for the most part, I think the effective blows still have been landed by Floyd.
Of course. Those right-hand leads have been perfect.
Ortiz seems to be constantly trying to change his look, moving, then coming forward. Mayweather is so quick-minded that he doesn't get flustered or confused by any of that.
At the end of the day, I'm not sure Ortiz can be effective fighting Mayweather from this distance, Emmanuel. Seems to me he has to get closer.
Well, but Floyd has been able to throw his right hand, but after that he can't do nothing himself. He throws the right hand and then he tries to drop down. So I don't know. It goes like this. It still can be okay with Ortiz, but Ortiz can possibly try to use his weight and time.
He got in a left-hand lead. Interesting way to turn the page on Floyd Mayweather's right-hand leads, and Ortiz landed his left-hand lead.
But Ortiz is not really that effective with his left as much because he's really right-handed.
As you mentioned,
his right hand is his
right-handed.
best hand, yes.
Like Oscar De La Hoya, like Miguel Cotto, like any number of stars of recent years who've understood the importance of having the strong hand in front. Another left-hand lead by Ortiz. Interesting little strategic wrinkle. It's not a punch he normally throws.
A good round for Floyd, but Ortiz didn't look outclassed completely.
Muy bien, excelente, ¿ok?
Excellent, excellent.
Le pegó unas derechas, era usted, pero usted también pegó a él. Usted también entró los golpes.
You dominated all the punches.
¿Ok? Nomás vamos a tratar de mover más los hombros. Acuérdese que tiene que mover.
You gotta move more.
¿Okay? Hizo bien. Mueva los
You
hombros.
did very good. Move your shoulders more.
Usted se lo puede hacer. Ya se lo hizo el control.
The motherfucker ain't never gonna beat you, motherfucker backing up. You got to come forward and do something. You gotta keep your hands up. Keep bagging up. Keep walking to that motherfucker. That's it.
It was a measured tactical round one. Mayweather landed 9 of 41 punches, Ortiz 5 of 42. But 4 of Mayweather's landed punches were right-hand leads directly onto the chin of Ortiz, and they appeared, at least by my lights, to have won him the round. Crowd is chanting Ortiz, Ortiz now as round 2 begins. Victor hasn't yet landed a right hook, which is his money punch.
Floyd is so skilled. You can be sure he's very aware and trying to neutralize his best punch.
The left hand landed for Ortiz. He's getting closer now and trying to muscle Mayweather a little bit. I think Floyd's been surprised by Victor Ortiz throwing left-hand leads. He's thrown 4 of them and they've landed. Not hard, but they're getting contact.
Floyd's entire attack is based on just what you just saw. Right-hand leads, and when he shoots it, he tries to drop down to his right, which prevents Ortiz from coming back with counter punches effectively. But most of his attack is basically going to be on the right hand tonight.
Short with the right hand. And Ortiz lands a right hook for the first time. Just a chopping punch, didn't have full power, but at least he got that one onto Mayweather's head. Right hook to the body, left hand by Ortiz. Just misses upstairs with the right hook. He's assertive, he's not intimidated, he's trying to fight him. And he's trying to make him fight. But Ortiz is gonna have to fight at a faster pace than this if he wants to make his point. There's the right hand again. First big landed punch of the round for Mayweather. Now Ortiz gets him into the corner where he might be able to do some business. Joe Cortez wasn't quick to break them.
Yeah, he has been criticized for being too quick to break some of a Mayweather fight, and he showed that he was patient there.
Ortiz is threatening Mayweather, and Mayweather's grinning again. It's clear that Mayweather's going to land his counters. He's very accurate.
But he can't do anything after that. He throws the right hand and that's it. He's not coming back with any combination. He lands the right hand and then he goes back to a safety zone.
And again, Ortiz led with the left to both the body and the head. Now Mayweather lands 2 right hands. Ortiz coming in, blocked that shot. He gets Mayweather into the corner and goes after him again.
And tries to muscle him and let him know, I'm still big and I'm still coming.
Second round is fascinating. Young Victor Ortiz is having his moments here and there. He's gotten Floyd Mayweather, at least for the moment, into something of a fight.
Muy bien, buen round. Excelente.
There's another round on the bank. You gotta keep bagging that bitch up. Keep bagging him up. Keep bagging him up. The round go to you. Keep bagging that bitch up.
Hombros, arrímate, cuando estés cerquitas, entonces la tiras, pero cuando
Well,
la tiras, ya sabes, arrímate para este lado.
But get into the side.
Derechita o de ganchito, pero
Get the
métete
hook
para
or throw,
allá.
but get on the inside. Don't throw far away.
Okay?
All right?
Here you see Floyd Mayweather landing, which is his favorite and best punch in this fight, right hand leads. But after the right hand, you watch, he never comes back too much with the left hook. He lands that one punch, and then he goes back to defense, making sure he doesn't get hit back. So he's systematically winning the fight on points as it's going right now.
Those were not all from the second round. Those were first and second round right hand leads. He did not land that many in the second round, and in fact, Harold Letterman gives the second round to Ortiz and gets him even on the scorecards going to the third. That's an event in and of itself. Mayweather doesn't lose that many rounds. And Victor, by most people's lights, isn't here to try to win a decision. Another left-hand lead. And again,
that's what I would like to see Floyd do more, using his left hand now. He's jabbing and hooking instead of just throwing the right hand. I'd like to see him jab a lot more. He's got very, very
now
fast hands.
He backs Ortiz up, walking him down a little bit. And you heard Roger Mayweather asking for that. Back him up some more.
Ortiz doesn't know how to fight backing up. He's an aggressive young fighter. If Floyd can back him up effectively, he may possibly stop him, at least, but he'll win by a much wider margin and take some of the pressure off of himself.
In case you did not tune into 24/7 or follow the build-up for the fight, you may conceivably be unaware of Victor Ortiz's amazing backstory. Raised in Garden City, Kansas, His mother abandoned his family when he was 7. His father abandoned his family when he was 11. He was functionally helpful in raising his younger brother, wound up living for 3 years in high school with a foster family. Boxing was his way out in a very big way.
Well, both fighters have really been battling for themselves for a long, long time. And Mayweather looks like, I have him, I'm going to just chop him down systematically with the right hand.
Mayweather is more relaxed. He's landing with extreme accuracy. Victor Ortiz does not seem hurt by any of these punches, and he's got a grin on his face. He had his moments in the second round.
But, you know, Victor's going to have to increase his output because right now Floyd is systematically breaking him down.
No, they're fighting at a Floyd Mayweather pace.
Floyd is fighting a beautiful fight right now.
And now the left-hand lead lands again for Ortiz. Mayweather's not expecting Victor to land with his left hand, and there's a hard right hand by Mayweather. Ortiz walked right through it. Good left cross by Victor Ortiz. He's quick enough to fight with Floyd Mayweather. And fans of both fighters rise in appreciation at the end of round 3.
Seldom seen in a Mayweather fight.
Keep walking to him. He's scared of you. He's scared of you. He ain't trying to fight you. He's running. You got to fight a motherfucker. You want to hold on that time. But he's more scared of anything. Now we get down the stretch, we're going to really tap that ass. When we're down the stretch, we're going to really tap that ass. Keep walking to him. That's all you got to do. Keep walking to him. Keep walking to him.
I believe that was Floyd Mayweather's best round, mainly as a result of this right hand, and many of them are just like that. It landed before and after. The right hand is working very effective, and he's just taking his time, placing his punches, fighting a beautiful fight.
His far greater accuracy, a big difference in the fight so far. Power shots in round 3, Mayweather landed 16 of 29, Ortiz 4 of 14. Victor Ortiz is going to have to fight at a faster pace if he's going to maximize his chance against Floyd Mayweather. Harold, how do you have it through 3?
Okay, Jim, 2 rounds to 1, 29-28, Floyd Mayweather. Jim, in round 3, Floyd got into his rhythm, beat the heck out of him, and he's continuing right here. Look at those right hands. Beautiful, the left hooks, beautiful. 2-1, Mayweather.
And now Ortiz's face is beginning to be marked by Mayweather's power punches, and Mayweather seems to be putting substantially more pop on them now in this round.
Mayweather usually is a Zen master of non-aggression. Tonight, he's been trying to turn that around, to be aggressive as well as showing his boxing skill.
Ortiz got Mayweather into the corner, but could only throw one punch before Floyd got away. Mayweather lands a chopping left hook to the side of Ortiz's face. Misses with the right. And Victor Ortiz lands the right hook. He got one in there, and he lands another one, and a big left. And Ortiz is ripping Mayweather against the ropes. And Floyd's making a miss and stepping away, but that brought the crowd to life again.
But the best punch here so far has been right hand leads. Those short right hands right there.
Mayweather jabbing Ortiz. Victor wants to get inside again. Ortiz's greater strength showing up when they go to the ropes.
Let's go, watch your heads.
Ortiz grinning. He's getting excited in there.
Well, you know, Mayweather's been hitting him with punches all night and has not been successfully in terms of hurting him. And I think that's making his confidence grow. And even though Floyd is winning, I'm quite sure he's thinking a little bit, man, what is holding this guy up? He hasn't even been staggered yet. So, you know, it's giving confidence to Ortiz, even though Floyd is winning the fight. But he has not been able to hurt Ortiz.
Floyd had a 70% TKO record before he came into the welterweight division as a title holder. He's at 17% knockouts against the bigger guys.
Ortiz is still walking through Mayweather's big shots, but his right eye is beginning to swell. And he seems to feel the urgency. Pushing Mayweather back against the rope, jumping on him. Cortez calling timeout. They're talking to each other. And he's going to penalize Ortiz for butting. I said he jumped on him. Cortez judged it to be Ortiz trying to butt his head.
Let's go. Covering.
Defend yourself at all times.
Ortiz was apologizing.
This isn't
and
gonna
Mayweather was punching.
This isn't going to win him any more fans, but it was legal. It was legal.
An outstanding performance by Mayweather. He knew the flaws in Ortiz. He seized on them. He took some of Ortiz's good shots. For once, we can all say he was exciting in the ring as he has been outside the ring.
Harold Letterman, I'm sitting here saying that was legal, but I'm not the final authority. Your call on that.
Well, Jim, I got to tell you, to me, it looked like Joe Cortez was looking away. Victor Ortiz was looking at Joe Cortez, and Floyd clocked him. I mean, normally the referee yells box, you know, in a situation like that, where he takes away a point. Joe didn't yell anything. It looked to me like Joe was looking toward the commission, and he never said a thing. Floyd jumped on him and knocked him out. But it's protect yourself at all times, so it's legal.
Not likely to go down in the estimation of boxing fans as the classiest moment of Floyd Mayweather's career. Emmanuel, your response?
I don't even want to make a comment on it. I mean, maybe it's legal, but it was a gesture that they was, you know, like, I'm sorry, I apologize, or whatever. And it was just, and Floyd took advantage of the situation.
Let's take another look. Watch the replay. Now, first, here's the headbutt called by Joe Cortez. And watch Ortiz leap over the top of Mayweather's gloves, seemingly trying to get to his head. There you go. That was the butt. And that was what prompted Cortez to penalize. Now here's the apology. Watch Cortez look away. Watch Ortiz talking to Mayweather. And watch that. And Victor Ortiz was not able to get up from that knockout. Well, no matter how you slice it, it's legal, it's not classy, and it's officially a KO. But part of my response here is, frankly, if you're the best fighter in the world, and you like to claim that you're the best fighter in history, you shouldn't have to do that. That's no way to prove it. Michael Buffer stands by now with the particulars on the official knockout.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the MGM Grand, the official time, 2 minutes, 59 seconds of round number 4. The winner by knockout victory and new WBC welterweight champion of the world, Floyd Money Mayweather.
Well, there's a thought process in boxing that great fighters should be contemptuous of the opposition, but then again, it's also supposed to be a sport. Final CompuBox numbers, just total punches. Mayweather 73 out of 208. Sometimes it seemed like he couldn't miss. Victor Ortiz, 26 out of 148. Sometimes he got Mayweather against the ropes and made some points. But at the end of the day, it's a knockout victory for Floyd Mayweather in the 4th round. In an extraordinarily unusual situation. Following a ruling and a penalty for a headbutt by Joe Cortez. Power punches, Mayweather dominated there. You saw how easily he landed his right hand leads and his left hooks. And if ever Larry Merchant's post-fight interviews have been significant, tonight's the night. Let's go to Larry with Floyd Mayweather.
Thank you, Jim. Congratulations, Floyd. You hear the crowd, at least the good part of it is in an uproar because they felt that you took shots at him unfairly after you went together in the ring, made up for the headbutt, and then you poked him. What's your story?
First off, I want to thank God for this victory, because without God, all this wouldn't be possible. I want to thank my team. I got hit with a dirty shot, and it's protect yourself at all times. I hit him with a left hook right hand, and that ended the bout.
So you're saying that even though it appeared that he wasn't protecting himself and thought that that was part of the ceremony that you were going through of apology, that you unfairly took advantage of it. What do you say to those who say, what'd you do there? You were winning the fight and in charge.
I just want to tell everybody that bought pay-per-view, that came out to Las Vegas, thank you. It was a hell of a fight.
Floyd, you know you're a promoter, but now we're talking to you as a prize fighter. Let's take a look at what happened at the end of the fight,
let's look
and
at
you
it.
describe it.
We touch gloves. We back to fight hook. Right hand, and that's all she wrote.
So for you, it was just an automatic response. Let's get on with the fight.
It's protect yourself at all times. He done something dirty. We're not here to cry and complain about what he did dirty or what I did dirty. I was victorious. If he want a rematch, he can get a rematch.
You were in charge of the fight. You were aggressive and trying and taking advantage of what you saw as a flaw.
You know what I'm gonna do? Because you don't ever give me a face shake. You know that? So I'm gonna go and let you talk to Victor Ortiz, all right? I'm through. They put somebody else up and give me an interview.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
You never give me a fair shake. HBO needs to fire you. You don't know shit about boxing. You ain't shit. You not shit.
I wish I was 50 years younger and I'd kick your ass.
You won't do shit. You won't do nothing.
All right. All right. We're now here with Victor Ortiz. You hear the crowd. You describe what happened at the end of the fight. Was it your fault for not protecting yourself at all times?
No. Absolutely not. I was called a break by the referee. So I did as I obeyed. You know, I obeyed exactly as I was told, and I looked at the ref, and I went like that, and I looked up, and then boom, I was out. So, you know, it happens.
All right. First, let's show earlier in the round when you had him on the ropes.
Okay.
And you butted him. Was that just some reflex action, or?
I was going back. And then he pushed me a little bit, so I went back and I just cocked back. It looked like I really did it intentionally, but you know, it happens. I even apologized to him. I mean, I'm very sorry for that. I'm not a dirty fighter.
So you're saying you were just trying to jump on him and your head collided?
Yeah, he came forward really fast. I wasn't expecting that, and my head was in his face, so I was like, oh, whoops. So, like, as far as I'm concerned, you know, I'm sorry for that.
But why you seem apologetic about? Then you got together with them, and what did you each say with each other?
I told him, I'm sorry, Floyd. I didn't mean to do that, bro. My bad, man. And my bad. Let's do this.
Where's Cortez? Where's the ref?
Yeah, so that was a couple times. It's okay though.
No, he's looking at the ref, and where's the ref?
Do you think that was
unfair, or because you had a plan to get deep into the fight, or is it your bad?
You know, you can look at it two ways. At the end of the day, you know what? I came out here to show the fans, you know, a good time. And as far as I'm concerned, I think they did have a good time, except for, you know, the little miscommunication there by the ref. But hey, it happens, you know. I'm not perfect. No one is, and neither is the ref. So I have no one to blame for it. It's a learning experience.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Victor. Jim?
All right, your first comment was you didn't even want to comment about it. But, of course, that's your job, okay?
It's a mixed emotions. You know, I saw emotions on Ortiz. He was very frustrated because he really couldn't get to Floyd, because Floyd was leaning back over the ropes, using his elbow roll. And so in his anger and anxiety, he just actually butted him. Then Floyd purposely planned on getting even. And so Floyd caught him with a punch. But it was a sucker punch, but it was to protect yourself at all times. So it's just one of those situations where emotions on both parts.
So very
got
technically,
involved.
under the protect yourself at all times dictum, this was legal.
Yes.
But you heard the crowd. Who's the winner and who's the loser?
Well, I don't know how they look at it. Eventually, Floyd Mayweather's the winner, because he's the one that officially will be defending his title, and he's the one that won the fight. But as far as the public appeal, Floyd has never been that high on what the public felt about him anyway, so I don't think it's going to make any difference. But he's satisfied with himself. That's the most thing that's important to him.
All right. Larry, you're not the only person, I think, who wishes you were 50 years younger. But Victor Ortiz did try to foul Floyd Mayweather, and Mayweather, under the strict terms of the protect yourself all times dictum, is probably legally within his rights, having done what he did. But we heard the response of the crowd, and I'll ask you the same thing I asked Emmanuel. Who's the winner and who's the loser?
Floyd Mayweather is the winner. That tirade at the end, I don't really think I could have kicked his ass 50 years ago, but I would have tried it.
I know that.
So another chapter in the Floyd Mayweather saga. Victor Ortiz, even though he was flawed as everybody saw, he was a likely challenger. What happened at the end, I think, Floyd Mayweather knew that the next question was going to be about, why don't you fight Pacquiao? That's still the question that will linger long after this fight, depending on how long he decides to take off this time.
Well, at the end of the day, Floyd Mayweather stretches his record to 42 wins, no losses, and remains in his position at or near the top of the sport. I say at or near because those of you out there who are incensed at Mayweather for the way that he won the fight tonight are surely wrapping your arms once again around all the hopes that are embodied by Manny Pacquiao and all the hopes that are rampant in the boxing world that the fight between Mayweather and Pacquiao will finally take place. And there's no new evidence one way or another as to whether that's going to happen now that Mayweather has said that he'd offer a rematch to young Victor Ortiz. And one thing is for certain, what we say here is not the end of the discussion. It's the beginning of the discussion. Because for the next 3 weeks, this is going to be a firestorm in the world of boxing websites and in back rooms where boxing is discussed. So you talk about it all night long, and we'll be back to talk about it sometime in the distant future. For now, it's yet another Floyd Mayweather win. World Championship Boxing returns to HBO October 1, when middleweight champion Sergio Martinez takes on undefeated Brit Darren Barker. Also that night, Andy Lee tries to avenge his only loss of his career against Brian Vera. 2 weeks later on HBO pay-per-view, the ageless one, Bernard Hopkins, tries to defy time once again, defending his light heavyweight title against former champ Chad Dawson. Mayweather Ortiz has been brought to you by MGM Grand, City of Entertainment in Las Vegas. Cerveza Tecate, con carácter. DeWalt, new 20-volt max lithium-ion system. AT&T, get it faster with 4G. Rethink possible. Fly Southwest Airlines, it's the right call. Cancun, discover paradise. And by HBO Pay-Per-View, the best in pay-per-view entertainment, brought to you by HBO. You can get exclusive updates from HBO's Facebook and Twitter sites, and as always at HBO.com, the online home of HBO Boxing. And now for our entire HBO crew, I'm Jim Lampley saying so long from Las Vegas.